but time is not in his favor. He has a challenge, a shotgun close, and Wood's gonna get it!
Do some damage. Nikolai from the backside! Finds Wisdom again! It would be a big one. He's finding the first. Can he find it? Swing again!
What? Left in a 1v3. Make that a 1v2. Make that a 1v1. Oh my goodness, Nitro sell out. And who's gonna stop him?
Hello everybody and welcome back to SCS Season 6. I am Lynx, joined by Benny, and this is our second playday of the week. It is Wednesday, December 15th. And Benny, whoever wins out of these two matches today will solidify their spot in playoffs. We saw two teams do it yesterday, or at least one team do it yesterday. Aqualix, if you recall. So you come more do it today. So Benny, what are your thoughts? Immediately preliminary on this first game, what we might see. ARIAL Arise versus 2FACED. How you feeling? Just on a pure sight reading of this.
Pure sight reading, I think everyone's kind of, playing on ARIAL Rise. We all expect them to win at this point because, 2FACED are still kind of not so unproven per se, but we still need to see more from them performance-wise. Hey, this is yesterday's game, though. One Shot versus Aqualix. This is where, One Shot unfortunately goes down to the decider match.
You think of all the maps that One Shot would have won, the one in which their coach was subbing in would not have been it, but oddly enough, not only did they, well, actually, they only won that map. It was a very close one in which, not gonna lie, Aqualix did a little bit of trolling for the second half of it. But then when they had their full roster, they lost, and, not even that close.
Yep, they lost in dominant fashion to Aqualix in the second and third map. And yeah, we see here in Clubhouse. Clubhouse was, what, 7-2 at the end, I believe? That was just...
7-2. And
it was in Cookies was like, Aqualix, they've shown a really bad, historically horrible Clubhouse. They're gonna get fried here, and it was not what... They did not get fried.
Yeah, this is also the map where, in history, they've one shot of 7-1 ARIAL Arise on it. It seemed like a pretty solid map in theory, but of course, sometimes maybe you don't show up, maybe you're not having your best day. Clearly, One Shot, based on some of these results, we're not exactly having the best day yesterday. Aqualix also having a very good day for himself. Exile also having a very big game today. In fact, you'll see how that game impacted his stats once we get to it in just a few seconds. You also see another game here, Eclectic versus Soup.
Oh yeah, decider match. This is the elimination match.
Yes, exactly. This was not a playoff deciding match, but to see who was eliminated. And Eclectic, again, that team that very shockingly qualified for the league that maybe a lot of us were sleeping on. They took their victory, and they stay alive, and they will fight One Shot, I believe, again, to see if they can make it into playoffs over them.
Yeah, that'll be next week. That's going to be an exciting match once again. And yeah, but today, we got some interesting, we got some stats, we got some things we can go over. We got some leaderboards, like you're saying, Exile yesterday, he has topped the board in entries, though. He was just a monster entries. I think he had 11-7 or something like that. 11-4.
It was also pretty funny because by sheer coincidence, I was talking to Exile before the game started. He literally left. He's like, "All right, we're doing map bans. I'm gonna go," and he told me about how they were doing role shifts, and now he was gonna go to the match playing Zoe. I was like, all right, cool. And then I opened the game and he was on Ace, and I was like, Michael, this is the opposite of what we thought. He's like, yeah, well, we just felt like going back. And I was like, okay, well, we'll see how that works out. Oddly enough, as you said, despite going back on the Ace, he was doing his, to bring up a topical reference to 2FACED, he was doing his best Silent Ends impression, managing to get those entries on the Ace after using the Selma charges, just pushing on into sites in various places, able to get those opening picks as that Ace. But of course, it was all throughout the series that Exile was having himself a great game. However, Benny, while Ashen has not been dethroned yet, we have two members, numbers 2 and 3 in the rating board, that are going to be playing today in this first matchup. Silent and Kix, both the number 2 and number 3 rated players, though there's Mikey close behind, who will be in our second game after. You have a lot of faces we're going to see, and actually a lot of them being 2FACED.
Yeah, the Kix and Eddie, and on top of that, they're on top of cost. Kix and Poise on the survival side, and Sweater on top 55%. So yeah, there's a lot of people we're going to see today for these two matches that are on the leaderboard. So there should be some spicy matches. At least I'm hoping they are.
For both these teams, ARIAL Arise, obviously they had to play with AUG last week. They had a sub. They actually, fun fact, they will be playing with AUG again this week for map number 1. So to give you a little sneak peek of one of the critical points is, well, AUG is subbing in, and you'd think, oh no, this is bad. Any team subbing in is going to be worse off. Now, obviously, in theory, that's true. If you're One Shot, you still win the map nonetheless. If you're AUG on ARIAL Arise, not only do you win the series, but AUG in particular dropped, I think it was like a 20 bomb or something. But of all the subs in the underage scene right now to have subbing in for your team, Og is definitely one of the up-and-coming talent who has been around for a while and is surely going to perform on the roles he is given today. Of course, it will be Wimpy out for map 1, so a little bit different than what Og used to play back in T3 on Joe Academy, like I said, but most importantly, they're only subbing in for map 1. Once we get to maps 2 and maybe 3, all of the ARIAL's core 5 will be back in the lobby, and that is something we missed last week and might be a culprit for why it was so close, and maybe a reason for why, even if this goes to 3 maps, ARIAL might come away the victor. They have their full roster in the lobby come map number 2.
Yeah, but hey, well that means that, hey, 2FACED have a lot to go off of here. They've got quite a team in ARIAL Rise, and you really pumped up Og there, subbing in for map 1. But hey, again, this is gonna be interesting because Poison, he's been known to be quite the IGL for 2FACED, but 2FACED themselves are a different roster compared to the CL season. They played a few games here and there, but this is kind of we consider this maybe a true test in a sense. Maybe playing against an actual CL team with some history with them in the CL seasons. And all Poison in the past has gone against aggressive amateur teams. He's done well against them. Can he do the same against a T2 aggressive team in the face of ARIAL Rise?
Well, I think at least if they're able to, say, replicate some of the performance they had last week, it was a 7-2, 7-1 for them. Of course, wasn't against a CL team, was against Inc., who have looked pretty good so far in the qualifiers, and, well, not as much in the regular season, but qualifiers, they look solid. It's not unreasonable to say that ARIAL Rise will be a bit of a step up from that, at least in terms of their pedigree and the potential, especially with their sub being Og, such a storied player. But we do have the map vetoes to see where we're going to in ARIAL Rise versus 2FACED for today. Coastline and Cafe banned out. I think those are 2 pretty solid bans for both teams, especially the Coastline ban. 2FACED banning that against ARIAL, but starting out on Villa. 2FACED opting to pick that one. Then we're going to Club. This one I find interesting, Benny, because we saw them play it last week. It's a very close victory for ARIAL. I believe 8-6, though that was with Og, so again, they were playing with that sub. But we also are going to Chalet, and this was a map that 2FACED won 7-1 last week. And sure, it wasn't a CL team they were playing against. It was more so 2FACED really just dominating everybody. And in that series overall, everyone on 2FACED is putting up about an equal effort across the board. So 2FACED is certainly no slouch going into this. But I would say for these maps, I feel like every team gets a little bit of something they like. I feel like ARIAL's not unhappy to go to any of these maps. I feel like 2FACED not unhappy to go to any of these maps.
Yeah, I think based on history, most of these teams are going to maps they know how to play at least, and it's gonna be interesting seeing as again we have only one map with a sub. It's gonna be Og in the first map in Villa. We'll see how he does here and if it's gonna change things up, because that is 2FACED's map, and they're gonna expect him probably to win that one. But maybe Og will change things up because he's the mystery man at the moment.
I don't know. After that one-shot game yesterday, all the conventions I normally have about subs, and all the standard talking points just went out the window because we're like, oh. Not only is it, not only is it one shot's map, it's not only is one shot having the sub in, it's Aqualix's map pick. Surely they can win it. They lose it, and we're like, oh my god, one shot are gonna smoke them. Then they did. So I don't really know how to read what's going forward in this series. I do think Og will be. No offense to Chat Penguin Lips, who is the coach for one shot. I do think Og is a little bit different, a lot more recent experience as a comp player. But as you can see, Benny, not only you and I, but most of the talent and everybody behind the scenes believes ARIAL will win this. Do you think we're being a little bit one-sided? You and I both predicted it, so a little bit of bias there. Do you think we're maybe not giving 2FACED their due?
I guess we're just kind of sticking to what we know there. Unfortunately, we don't really know much about 2FACED too much with the new roster changes, and we're all like, ARIAL Rise, we're a SEAL playoff team. That's probably what we're all basing it on, really, because we haven't, they are a team that made playoffs. They played pretty well up until upper bracket finals. Didn't do too great there, but still, it's what we're like, hey, ARIAL Rise, sure there's a sub, but we've seen them play. We've seen them just break down teams left and right.
Yeah, of course, you talk about upper bracket grand finals. The map they actually lost the finals on was Chalet, and maybe it's because they started running out of steam, but, they didn't look too great on that map, but it was after a lengthy day. They,
a lot of best of threes.
Not only 3 maps, they had to play another best of 3 earlier on in that day. Yeah. Then again, you could also say, PB kind of had to run the gauntlet over that day as well. But so getting to Chalet, we'll see how they do. Starting out on Villa, though, again, as I said earlier, all the normal sub talking points are kind of going out the window. Villa certainly does lend itself well to what 2FACED like to do. Of course, they have this nice capacity where they can get aggressive, but Poison does usually like to play a little bit more structured, a little bit more coordinated, more closer to the site. But that's the nice thing with most of Poison's teams, is that you say that, and then Poison is just off-site roaming as smoke. Sometimes it's just kind of the calls they make in the rounds, decisions they want to make in the heat of the moment. They can do either. But really, for ARIAL Rise, because they maybe are a little bit spread too thin between those two different styles, could be some very easy spots to exploit on any map if 2FACED are maybe kind of playing half and half with what they want to do.
I definitely agree with that. Really, we've seen ARIAL Rise in the past where they, like you said, spread too thin, or they get too aggressive, or they go too far with what they're doing, and that kind of costs them a lot of times. But hey, depends. Maybe. But again, they always like to do that. They always like to go for those gunfights. I think they go and take fights and try them out early in the rounds. That's kind of what we really accustomed to at this point with that team, and they've made it happen quite a few times, despite we think they're not going to win it out.
All right, and before the match gets started, we are going to take a short break while we get things set up in the lobby. But while we're gone, make sure to enjoy some content on the break. We have plenty of interviews lined up, but also, of course, on our YouTube page that I'm sure you'll see more about, not only during this break, but over the course of the night. But until then, we'll be back in just a few minutes.
Hi, my name is Kix, and I play for 2FACED. I feel like playing against amateur teams, it's more of like gunfights rather than like trying to execute or get bombed down. Either can be really good or can be really bad. I don't think there's no in between. You're either gonna get smoked or you're gonna annihilate the team. NCL, I think that our biggest flaw was definitely practicing. It was really hard for us to practice. We had like players on our team that were MIA, going out of state. Another thing, like on game day, a really big problem with us was staying alive, opening deaths, and that is something we're trying to work on and fix in this next stage. Playing against like T3 teams, that could be very difficult to play against. I played in T3 for like a very long time. It's mainly just gunfights. In my opinion, I think I have pretty good aim and that I can shut down a lot of these T3 teams pretty easily. I switched to PC just around a year ago with Asian Silent and Ashen. We all switched together from Xbox, started T3 together. We were on T3 together for like 7 months. And then me, Silent, and Eddie became 18. We decided to try to go into CL. We picked up Butters and Surf, our first CL quals. We ended up making it and it ended up being in CL. Definitely a biggest rival is Asian and Ashen, who are still in T3 because they're under 18. They were my ex-teammates, so going against them would definitely be like kind of like a rivalry. I definitely think the most doubted or slept on player on our team is Poison. I feel like people underestimate him because of his aim, but he definitely brings a lot to the team, and I'm hoping to show how much we've improved with Poison on our team. SSG and CSM, those teams are the teams I've always watched when playing P3, especially SSG. Bosco is probably one of my favorite players to watch. I wish he streamed more. That would be nice. My favorite ice cream flavor is definitely vanilla. I'm kind of a basic person. I don't like complicated things, but vanilla is definitely the best flavor in my opinion. I go to college and my major is in computer science right now, working on getting my degree. Logic, Man of the Year, probably one of my favorite hype songs or songs to listen to before game day.
Hey, my name is Poison. I play for 2FACED. The stages, they're very spread out. So we need some good things to play during that like couple month period so we stay nice and fresh in the gameplay. I wasn't playing with them last stage, but they didn't really practice a lot, and I don't think they really like had like a real IGL leader. So me coming in here to instill some discipline in the team and get everyone a little bit more structured. I think we got a really talented roster. So we're just looking to get a little bit more of a structured and disciplined team, and I think we have the talent to propel ourselves to the top. So me joining, more disciplined and structured, and with Splash joining, I think we just have a lot more firepower and just raw skill. Splash doesn't have the most comp experience, but he has really good aim, and he's a close-knit friend with all of us, so it kind of helps in that sense that we know him well, and he has really good aim, so he's learning quickly. Everyone kind of knows me in T3. I've been playing for like forever, now T2, and I still, kind of suck, have my bad moments, but I'm known as a grinder, I like to think, and I've been playing for like forever. So I started off as kind of a meme, and then I just actually was one of those people who like just took the criticism and just kept working on it, and then now I'm starting to do some stuff in the scene. Warm-up routine, my aim kind of sucks. I've been exploring the Kovacs a little bit, but I just T-hunt for like 15 minutes usually. I play with an ice pack by my setup, and I keep like a super clean room. As you can see, I always have my bed made, and I also listen to some lo-fi beats while playing. That's a nice little thing to keep me relaxed too. ARIAL is basically like my right-hand man. He's always there with me, like supporting me. Like we're the people who like are in the call like hours before practice, making all the strats while everyone else is playing ranked or whatever. And no shade towards anyone else, but me and ARIAL are always there grinding. Probably the Sonics. Super on Twitter, he was kind of doubting my ability as an IGL, so I like to show that Baldy how to play Siege. Relaxing, unwinding, mainly reading for me. I like to read a lot. I have a big bookshelf. I like to read about philosophy and manga, main things I'm doing right now. I like to read, listen to music, and walk the dog. When I'm not doing those things, or I'm also a senior in high school, when I'm not doing those things, I'm usually just like streaming, making strats, doing things Siege related. My big focus right now is Siege in general, so when I'm done my schoolwork for the day, I'm usually just like focused on Siege and self-improvement. Talked about this a bit earlier, but always got the lo-fi beats on while playing. Shout out Asian for putting me on. He does it too. It's very nice and relaxing. That's definitely what I have on during game day.
Oh, I love the smell of a cup of joe in the morning. With roach. Oh, hello.
A letter has arrived, sir.
A letter. For me. You have been cordially invited to compete in the 2022 Winter Championships.
Wow.
Featuring multiple game titles, competitive leaderboards, over 25,000 in prize money, and glory. By golly, time to get some headshots. What a perfect time to tell a story. Gather round, everyone, and hear the tale of the NerdStreet Winter Championships. There once was a tournament during the season of snow, filled with contenders of might with names Deez, Ligma, and Joe. Players rose from their beds from the east to the west to compete and prove which players were best. Through weeklies and monthlies, the hype did climb, as soon came the grand finals. Locations in due time. Aspiration and community was preached to the masses. Amateurs became legends, Mavics supporting their...
I was gonna say glasses.
The road was a trying one, wrists aching with cramps. In the end, victors rose. We call them Winter Champs. Before they departed, they left us these words. Our journey's just begun. All thanks to the nerds. Oh, how I love that story. I think we will compete. What do you say, Cheeves?
I can compete, sir.
I suppose better bring the KD up. And you should too. After all, if you're a competitor, this is the circuit for you.
V3, make that a 1v2.
2 seconds left. It's gonna come down.
We're making a third as he looks up. Making a finds the drop three. Stunning here from.
Welcome back, everybody. Sorry about that quick break, but we do have an update. It is for good reason. Because, Benny, I talked about it. Even one of my points I dedicated. I said AUG is not that bad of a sub to have for any kind of team. AUG ain't here anymore, is he? AUG's not in the game, is he?
Hey, maybe they need AUG though. Maybe AUG's
that's
the
true,
missing piece.
Maybe that's true. Maybe AUG is secretly the glue to hold everything together, and Wimpy is a fraudulent player. I'm just kidding. I love Wimpy. But no, point being, Wimpy actually can make it. We decided to hold it back a little bit, let him get home. He's on his way. So we will have all of ARIAL Arise's starting five. So while Benny, and this is why, this is strategy. While one of my points falls by the wayside, the other is solidified even more so, because not only will they have their core five for not just one or two maps, but all three potentially if it needs to go to that decider. So that's just, I'm going to give myself credit for that one. This is good thinking on my part.
Give you a credit. Wow.
Stroke my own ego live on stream.
You said ego.
No, I said ego.
It sounds like ego, but anyway, yes, they will have their full roster for
Isn't
all
that a
three
bird?
maps potentially, and it's gonna be like I said before. Like the point was, they're gonna have to really full test themselves against a fully credentialed or well-credentialed roster, as the point is.
Egret is the bird. I thought that's what you thought I said.
Oh no, I thought I said egro.
No, I don't even know what that is.
I don't think it's actually a word. I just thought
It's
it's
not. It's just not a word. There's ergo, which is Latin.
Ergo.
Which is, I think it's therefore in Latin.
Yeah, it's like therefore. Yeah, this is otherwise.
I don't know. But so that's close, but not what you said. But we are close to getting in the game. Of course, we are still waiting for, I believe, Wimpy to get in the lobby. Once we get him there, we can finally move on to Villa, and we don't have to keep just trying to beg and hope we continue filling.
I don't have to just fill time and talk about random things.
I mean, we don't have to talk about random things. I mean, we have map 1, Villa starting out. Don't believe we've seen either team play that map in SCS so far. I can check real quick, but I'm like 98% sure I'm right.
I don't believe so either, actually.
I am correct. They have not played it. I do know, obviously, that this is a map that, especially as we mentioned earlier, Poison even said in the interview, he brings structure to the team. He makes them a little bit more coordinated, whereas before, 2FACED were kind of like pretty much the definition of a pug stack. If you look at that first game from week 1 and how they beat Parabellum, pretty much that's exactly how they beat them. So obviously he brings that, a map like Villa, which gives you a lot more options to not only maybe lean into that a little bit when you extend into areas like Aviator Games or Trophy Statuary. If you're on the site that's the opposite of that, you have options to get aggressive, but it certainly helps to maybe be a little bit more coordinated, have your rotations on lock. But we will find out, because we finally have all 10 players in the lobby. I'm very happy.
We will see how they do on attack and ARIAL Rise. Are they just going to swing everything? Are they going to play disciplined? What are they going to do here to start us off?
Actually,
their full roster.
You'd think, when everyone was super excited for Beastly to be back on the roster, you would never expect it. They just turned into basically just a massive aggro ranked stack. We're super crazy. Can't believe it happened.
You'd think Beastly would turn them back into...
Yeah, you'd really think this experienced player would have brought some discipline to the roster, but no, it was just... Obviously, that was a bit. I'm kidding. It's a joke.
Can you guess ban phase?
Can I guess ban phase? ARIAL Rise like to ban Nomad. I think they banned Nomad and Maverick last week. Wouldn't be surprised if we see a Thatcher ban, though, just because on Villa especially, yeah, starting out on defense, very nice when you get out on the board, but that does mean I do believe that 2FACED, I don't think they have banned Maverick.
It's going to be either Hibana or it's going to be...
Could be Nomad if they want to get aggressive. The Flores makes sense. We've seen that banned a couple times on Villa, especially the prevalence of Goyo, and it last week as well, so makes sense.
And then it's going to be
in the vein of 2FACED. Well, it might not be Mira. You don't know that.
Kaid. Maybe Kaid.
They could ban Kaid.
Yeah.
Will they, though? It'll probably be a Mira ban, if we're being entirely honest with ourselves.
Yeah.
But it might not be. It could be the Kaid. That could be a good culprit.
It's going to be Mute. You saw Mute yesterday. That was crazy.
Ooh. Mute ban.
Oh, it's Womai.
Ooh. Still a band that certainly makes sense, especially with, of course, Flores taken off the board. Those shields become that much more powerful. If you have a Wamai on the board as well, the combination of the two can be a little bit difficult to deal with. Once the main way of denying those shields would be nades and explosives that could be caught by ADSs or magnets. Cutting down on that supply makes perfect sense. Now we can finally get into things. See how 2FACED want to start things out on the attack and where ARIAL want to go first on the defense.
It looks like we're going to trophies. Wait, no, it's paused.
I actually, yeah, I was about to say we are right as I said that. The game was paused, so
I was like, wait, what's going on here? What is that buck skin or that buck banner?
I don't know. I'm
That
still
from the
getting
new snow event.
Like 4 years of Siege and seeing the skins reflected on the icon now with like the banners and stuff. I'm like, wait, is that a skin? Is that just like an icon they're using?
I think it's from the snow event, I assume.
I'm pretty sure it's from the snow event. I don't know.
Yeah, I've seen it before.
I only played one match of the snow event, and I got smoked by like the most accurate people I've ever played against in Siege. So I figured it wasn't for me personally. I'm just not up to snuff
I've been
in that
seeing
game.
the tweets. It looks horrible.
It's actually like I know it was a bit polarizing in the group of friends that I was playing with. I personally thought it was fine. I enjoyed it. It was more so just the fact that like I was fighting people who I don't know, I just could not compete.
Just can't compete, man. Just getting dominated in that mode. You're like, what is happening?
I've been playing a lot of PS5 games, a lot of God of War, not a lot of shooters recently.
Oh, God of War's coming to PC soon. I can't wait for that.
Yeah, not really gonna help me in Siege now, is it? Just not gonna help me whatsoever. Especially not in the snowball game mode.
Yeah. I was to say, even it's like I guess the snowball game mode's weird too, because it's not like you're shooting a gun anymore either. You're just throwing snowballs.
But anyway, finally, getting into the map, as you can see, as Benny said, we are starting on trophy and statuary. We thought that the Cade maybe could be banned, more so, not that it was a necessity, but just maybe to make attacking a little bit easier, not having to deal with that hard reach denial. Was not banned. Now ARIAL are running it in the first round because, of course, they would. Very common ban. Like we see Cade's placed on that triple wall to electrify those 3 panels. Don't know if we'll have both of them dedicated to maybe put 2 in like some cheeky spots. Make it a bit difficult to fully open up that wall. Have to see. You could see one dedicated to the Aviator Games extension as well. A lot of options, but for ARIAL, kind of sticking on the site, kind of moving off the site. But right now with 3 players in Trophy or Aviator Games pretty early on, a lot of investment currently on the southern side of the map.
Oh, Kento's going to drop down, though. He's going to drop to the bathroom. Maybe Eddie might have heard that. But Eddie, playing the buck, though, so I'm assuming they're going to go below to deal with those electro claws. Whether or not they're placed in a cheeky position or if they're just placed on the wall straight up and nobody really cares. It looks like they just... Is that it on the wall? I can't tell you because...
I think he just threw it on the wall.
Yeah, he just threw it on the wall. So
he's only used one, so...
Yeah, so he's gonna go below, probably destroy that from below, and we'll see if somebody from ARIAL wants to challenge that or resist or try and stop them, get a kill. We see Gomez below there. We see Kento down there as well together on the roam. Splash has made their way already through into dining over toward Memorial, seeing enemy pushes through, but nobody's there for the moment.
There's Kento down below as we saw him rotate down through 90 earlier, but not really in a position to start actively contesting. Has Gomez close by, so if he wants to get aggressive, he will certainly have a friend over by the astronomy stairs, but in all likelihood, this little bit of control, living room or kitchen and dining is going to be ceded to the attack, and they will have an opportunity with either that buck or those impact lifelines. I would say the buck, but right now Eddie's more so watching the flank as opposed to getting this destruction. Instead, he'll be slashed to start opening up an angle, trying to spot the Electroclaw or anybody playing on that main wall, and overall denying that position, of which, so far in the first minute 20, not many people have seemed to venture too far over there. Wimpy would normally be the usual suspect to play on that wall. He was all the way over in study and is now rotating back, so while the Splash needs to find that Electroclaw, there's actually nobody playing there, and that could and likely will be to 2FACED benefit.
Yeah, it looks like you just grenade it from above, though. Looks like, yeah, Silence can throw the grenade. Doesn't destroy Electrical, actually. And Eddie was by himself, pushing towards that Aviator Games side, maybe to our cheeky flank later in the round, but he gets caught off by a member on the side of ARIAL Rise. Named Wimpy, really. So at this point, they have, I think they've destroyed, no, they still haven't destroyed it yet. So at this point, they've gotten one, oh, so they did use 2. So they did, as you said, they used one on one side, one on the other side. So they at least can open up an angle towards that rotate forward. They can open a full wall up, but they can open enough to try and cut off rotates between sites for this execute. Now the question is, they need other control though. They can't just have control inside of Master to deal with that. They need to control Astro as well.
You can see that Wimpy, I think Wimpy actually had a second one. Did it get shot midair, or did he just I'm not entirely
I
sure.
don't know what.
Oh no,
I
he
got
landed it.
there.
Okay, something exploded right as he threw it, and I wasn't quite sure if he landed or not. He will take a lot of damage, and unfortunately for him, it was a little bit mistimed. Holes opened up in the wall to deny the players and get angles on the players playing inside a trophy. But a lot of the positions that Ariel need are still firmly intact. One on Astro Stairs that Gomez might need to be aware of, and as they're moving in to get the bomb down, never mind, the player on Astro is dead. But nobody's watching DS Lucas, who somehow rotates in front of the open wall. A major oversight by 2FACED as the big element of their push was getting the plant behind that bomb chassis and covering through bricks in the wall, and the player that kills the planter rotates in front of the wall.
Yeah, that was yeah, unfortunately 2FACED couldn't get any real control besides Master. They opened the Master wall. You know, taking quite a few times to open the wall up. You saw Eddie early trying to maybe go for a beam position for a flank later on to disrupt the defenders. Unfortunately, he gets cut off by Wimpy. And you saw also, I believe, Splash downstairs going for Astro Stairs. He gets cut off by Kento as well, who was on, I believe, either on the hatch or he's downstairs rotating back upstairs. And at that point, it was 2FACED's only real attack was opening triple up and pushing, which they did 6 on the air too. They cleared out statuary. One player pushes in. It was Poison. He tries to get the plant down behind the statue. And despite having, you know, 2 other members inside of Master, they could not stop one player, namely, I believe either it was DS or Kento. I think it was DS. He just runs into Statuary, kills him. He does get traded out, but that allows for someone else to then walk into bedroom or into bathroom. Because, you know, the Nomad has to turn around and try and take a fight with the person who kills the planter, allowing for the member to go into bathroom, flank both 2 players left inside a bedroom. That's the end of the round right there.
Bit of a misplay in coverage, obviously. Also, Eddie solo rotating over towards a 90 to try to clear out there. It seemed like maybe there was a little bit of intel lacking. Maybe he just lost his fight. Not entirely sure. Still very far off from the rest of his team. Only person close by was down below over by Astro. So lost your buck. You brought. Didn't really use much utility. Kind of maybe oversight as well. Moving to Aviator Games, they are sticking with this buck. And even though we didn't see him do much on Trophy Statuary, Eddie was mostly watching the flank as opposed to actively using that skeleton key. Here is a position where if Eddie wants to get a bit more active, he has a lot of very good opportunities to do so. He's quickly entering into living room and library. So not only could he maybe find an early kill onto a player rotating down as Wimpy's over by red stairs, he won't do that. But instead, he'll do what I thought he might, which is actively use his skeleton key to open up the floor either inside a trophy and statuary. But Beastly quickly shut down as Splash taking the smoke off guard, pushing on through after the smoke canister's been thrown, but before it detonates, able to clear out that main stairs player and gain a vital bit of control in the first 45 seconds.
That is huge, though. Kicks with the kill on the Diaz as well, shooting through that softball into games. And that's huge control for 2FACED early. And now he's going to swing. Gomez swing, trying to get a pick off, but Poison's watching intently on that door. They have full control of main stairs and study. And Kento's got to get aggressive now. He's downstairs trying to return back to site, trying to get a flank off, but they're going to run back to site because they have full control of site. So they're going to run in and they're going to overwhelm the last defender. And Wimpy, who's by himself on site, he's going to shot by Splash. Now it's down to Kento in a 1v5. He gets one pick on the kicks, walking into Aviator. He's got to find 4 more, though, and they're getting the plant down behind the bar. Kento's going to return towards 90, looking to see if someone's aggressing towards him, but behind the couch is 80 to finish him off, and 2FACED will take round 2.
I mean, you don't need me to tell you that probably the biggest moment of that round was Splash somehow miraculously managing to get that control on main stairs. Not sure if ARIAL Arise had holes made in front of the bar watching the angle of bottom main, or if there were, maybe a call wasn't relayed in time, but obviously that was either a misplay or just Splash getting the luckiest timing on God's good earth, managing to push through the smoke canister, detonating after he already made it. He gets main stairs immediately. Everyone from 2FACED immediately starts to compensate for that. You have Kicks rotate to the study repel to watch and make sure nobody can start retaking main stairs from study side. You have the same over a 90 because Splash can hold that angle. He also has Silent backing him up as well to play for his trade if anybody gets aggressive. Once Kicks then pushed directly into study and got a kill, I don't really fault DS Lucas all that much for feeling obligated that he had to make some kind of play, or it might have been Gomez, actually, I'm not too sure, for trying to make a play, but at that point, 2FACED had already amassed so much control that the opportunity to make a play, at least on the top floor, was heavily limited with anything they could do, and for Wimpy and Kento, it's basically a done deal at that point, except if the stars aligned.
Yeah, I don't know if they were just still setting up, or maybe they weren't, quite prepared for a rush like that up the main stairs. Because I guess you saw the smoke canister go off, but he had no one behind him to stop that push immediately after getting killed. So unfortunate, but hey, we go on to dining kitchen for our next site from Arrow Rise. We'll see if how they do this, if they're going to roam horizontally, vertically, or do both maybe. For the moment, it looks like they're setting up a horizontal roam into the living room. They go with the hatches open so they can, maybe open the hatch and back off towards basement if they need to. But so far, yeah, nobody's really upstairs for the moment on the side of Aerial Rise. Gomez seems to be going up there for the moment, but maybe it's not putting too much stock or too much utility up there.
Well, they know that 2FACED in all likelihood will go upstairs. Of course, we have Silent on that sledge, but vertical control and destruction is usually a facet of a kitchen dining attack that most teams like to go for. We have also seen our fair share of horizontal clears recently, especially throughout the qualifiers, so it might not be a guarantee that 2FACED goes upstairs, but ARIAL Rise are, in all likelihood, banking on them still trying to get, and maybe even getting, a couple C4 kills, because you still have that pulse, you still have those C4s, you don't necessarily need to put a lot of presence upstairs to still get those kills, but as we see, Benny, they are going for that horizontal clear that we've seen a little bit more of recently. That pulse can still provide intel, but you don't have that same C4 potential as you do if they had gone for the other take.
Oh, you said that, but it looks like maybe 2 teams at once. You see 2 people going upstairs and 2 downstairs. So, but you also see actually quite a bit of open holes and quite a bit of stock into this horizontal room from Aerial Rise. You see a shield in that little hallway before China. Looks like they pinged out one player. That was Kento. Not dead. That was DS who returns back to Morio. He's going to run back to there knowing there's quite a bit of members on the 2FACED pushing forward. One Laundry, one a Bicycle. The one Laundry's dead. Actually, no, now he's dead. Basically with 2 kills of his own, denying entire push on one side of the map. It's down to kicks and splash all of a sudden within the first, minute and a half. Beastly with another kill. He's got 3 kills for the round. He's looking for a 4K to kill a Splash. Splash shoots on one. He sees one in the back, but it's DS to finish him off. And Aerial Rise will fight back, will swoop back with a flawless round.
I don't really know what that call was. I'm going to be honest. Because initially I got the clear, okay, sending 2 men up top, 2 men on the bottom. Sure, it was a horizontal roam, but say the 2 people on the bottom meet some resistance and you draw out the top floor, those 2 players on the top floor have a lot of room to go. They can get that control. Of course, there's the pulse, but they can still at least clear it out and secure it. But then they make this call to flood into Memorial. You see the Zofia Splash jump inside a Bicycle. 2 players rotate into Memo. But they just rush directly into Aerial Rise's setup. They hadn't cleared out the shield on Brown Stairs, looking into Library and, by extension, the hallway outside of Memorial. They hadn't dealt with Beastly inside the site, relaying intel to the entire team. Hadn't dealt out with the player behind Tetris, who can watch Bicycle and swing into Memorial and peek the players coming from bottom red. They just flooded directly into Aerial Rise's setup. And if you win your gunfights, that can certainly work. But if you don't, you have no other options to rotate to. You've committed everything to basically just crashing against the wall of Aerial Rise's defense. And that's not a strategy that works unless you win your fights.
Yeah, that was hey. They're really, I guess, again, they got some good kills off of being aggressive and being, proactive. That for the round aviator games. It's not always going to work, though. You're not always going to catch them off guard like that, especially if you don't really know what the setup is. And if they're set up for the horizontal take and, you walk right into it, not quite the same.
We literally saw 3 people rotate down red into the defense.
Yeah.
They rotated away from the part where there was nothing.
Yeah, it literally walked into what they're expecting. The holes made Memorial. You had the shield outside, right outside China, facing that way. Members playing by Laundry, a pole scanner as well. Hey, we're back on Trophy Saturated though. Once again, this is a site where 2FACED, the only real control they had was Master Bedroom. They couldn't take control Astro. They had nobody on the Astro window. They couldn't take Astro stairs. Eddie going for a flank through Aviator Games or 90 side gets picked off as well. So we'll see this time what they do. But last time we had Eddie, he was playing the Buck, but now he's playing the Ying instead. Maybe to look at those Candels to push in his site and get that plant down and hopefully no one can just kill the planter mid plant.
I was actually gonna say, despite the maybe lackluster or little control that 2FACED had overall, they had Master Bedroom, which is probably the most important bit of control on this site. And they were able to move in and get the bomb down. It really was just failure to use the control that they had, use the angles they created, that ended up losing them that round. But they had done a fairly good job at minimizing presence elsewhere. Nobody was playing on that main wall. They effectively denied both the position and eventually opening it up, denying those electric claws. We are seeing Wimpy rotate back, going for the exact same strategy that he did previously, taking off the K-Charge, which I believe might have been applied to one of the Aviator Games walls, and now he can throw it on that main wall and continue Electric Claw trick those Hibanas as they were layered onto that wall. So while they are going for the same execute, and it almost worked out last time, nothing has really happened the first minute 30, and that inherently favors the defense, especially considering 2FACED's very minimalist attack.
Oh, the grenade doesn't actually
There they
destroy
go.
it. So great. Yeah, great electric claw trick from the side of Wimpy, though. And a great shot, too, on the kicks to top it off. There's the icing on the cake for him. Oh my god. Now another grenade will pop off to destroy them. There's no ADS, I believe, on that side, so you should have no problem destroying the second or the first electric claw, which then Wimpy will probably put another one on there. Any pre-firing through the board windows. Gomez once again watching the Astro stairs, looking to destroy the shield over by Black Box and Astro. Gomez sees one kill, but he can't finish him off though. And so Silent will get the kill on Diaz, and he'll actually clear out Astro for the moment.
He will, but Gomez can still very effectively hold this position. Kento now rotating back up can also very effectively deny any entry into Brick alongside Wimpy. Beastly can be in a little bit of a tricky spot, especially if he peeks up his head, but the failure to open up that master bedroom wall, and or at least as open as they wanted it to be, or entirely, should go their way, but instead, all the kills instead go towards the attack. Diffuser goes down, Wimpy finally gets one, not able to land poison on the rotate off. 2 players in 2-faced on low HP. Beastly capitalizes off that very fact, making it a 2v2. Eddie's rotated out, but unfortunately Poison just gets smoked off the face of the earth. Now Eddie's got to rotate back into the site. He has an angle on Wimpy, though. Fortunately, Beastly not in a position to play for the trade of the Cade. Lack of intel, not relaying and not knowing the Ying's position. Now Eddie can just go prone behind this table and wait for Beastly to make a move. He peeks up, but he's still playing as patiently as he can, standing up. Impact lands at his feet and actually downs him! But does Beastly know? He goes over to finish it. No! Because he was uncertain, he still loses time to defuse. He's kicking himself for that one, I guarantee it. He just gave the round to 2-faced, but he didn't even know what happened.
Wow, what a round from Aerial Rise. And 2-Face as well, though, actually. The fact that Aerial Rise brought it back there, but still, 2-Face, again, not a lot of control, but this time they made it work, though. This time using those Candelas, able to flash up players, able to push on the site, because Beastly was the member who was going to play that flank, play that position to try and stop the plant. You saw otherwise, I think it was DS playing the Melusi this time, tries to swing, but they had the necessary coverage. Splash was covering poison this time. Does kill. Does ODS, but then Beastly was trying to swing the position, but gets flashed by the Candelas, allowing the plant to go down. And from there, Aerial Rise do get the retake. They able to get the kills they need to, but in the 1v2, in the first place, in the 1v2, it was Eddie who wasn't coming from Master. He wasn't coming from Astro. He was coming from 90 to Boar. So nobody knew where he was. So he walks in a trophy. And it's at that point, 1v2, you have no clue where he is. He just kills last plant from trophy, or the disable diffusing, or the DS, and DS, or Whoopi that time, actually. And at that point, it's a 1v1, and Beastly has to somehow figure out how to kill him, but doesn't know where he is even.
2-faced, obviously, they had not read into Wimpy's strategy with those Cades, so they were very caught off guard by that. But they did a very good job of working with the very little that they had. Silent didn't push into Astro. He just held the angle, seeing if Gomez rotated up Astro stairs, which he eventually did. Able to get that kill. Of course, as you mentioned, the Candelas as well, opening things up, causing some chaos that allows Poison to get the bomb down. That was very well played by 2-faced, using the very little pieces they had to move and using every little bit for maximum effect. Very good work. Moving to Aviator Games, I also see rotation that I am a big fan of. We see Beastly go to the Tachanka, and what I'm hoping here, we see some holes opened up at bottom main that he can utilize to stop Splash from pushing up and taking down anybody playing on top main in the first 45 seconds.
Yeah, let's hope that happens again for Aerial Rise. Hey, maybe they'll go off again, but looks like they are going for a Master push. Those 2 members from 2-Face are going for a push through Master. That's Silent and Kicks on that side. Look to the rest of 2-Face, maybe just droning out below and see if they can clear that bottom floor in Library and push towards main stairs. As Wimpy's looking for the drones so you can shoot them down and see what's going on. Wimpy with the DMR in his hand. Looks like they know the drones. They know that 2 members, or at least members of 2-Face, are pushing towards side, so they're going to back off. Go back towards site. Make sure to see what's going on, but Splash is also on the Astral window, so they're doing full clear. I don't see anybody from 2-Face actually going towards main, so they were drawing that side out, but they're actually going towards that Master side. They can open up in towards Statuary, but nobody's there. They've all backed off, so they just kind of wasted a couple X gyros to make sure that it's clear.
This is the nice thing. Obviously, if you're a smoke, maybe dealing with a push coming in from Trophy Statuary or from 90, especially since the changes to vault canisters, if you want to deny a vault plant, can sometimes be a little bit finicky. But if you know those lineups with those Shumika grenades for Tachanka, can sometimes be even a little bit easier to deny that plant. And also, you can just rotate a shield, just like Smoke could. So it's not going to trip up Aerial Rise nearly as much. They can very easily rotate their utility. Wimpy being a little bit aggressive inside of 90, trying to get an early pick, also waste some time. get some drones as they come in as well, as there are still 8 for 2FACED right now, so plenty of intel at their disposal. Now, we pass a minute and a half remaining. Wimpy will start rotating back behind that shield, and so far, 2FACED have switched up their attack, but in terms of progress, they have not made much.
That actually might have been, if that was on the Litmore, that might have killed Splash actually. Good lineup, but unfortunately doesn't get the kill here for DS on that C4 throw. Okay, setting up some air jabs to make sure nobody rotates later on. If they do go for that plant behind the vault door and they rotate through 90, Eddie's going to play there just to make sure he gets the flank on top of the air jab. And it looks like this, 2FACED have a 5v5 looking to make that execute happen onto the vault door. But again, going towards that study side, opening up that wall towards Aviator to get control of that vault door, stop the cross, stop them from swinging on vault door is going to be big there. But they also have to waste time here. They have to make sure they can either stop these shooting grenades or just bait them all out.
No, unfortunately, he cannot. I thought Gomez might have been able to impact grenade there. There might have been a hole made in the bottom of the left panel of that wall, but unfortunately, does mean Poison opens up a very nice angle from the study balk into the site. But here's the Shimiki grenades I mentioned earlier. There might be some Candelas sent inside a vault, but really there's nobody playing there. The main force is inside a bar, and it's, well, working pretty well. They've lost some bodies, but Beastly can deny on the time. And as his teammates get the kills, Aerial Arise come out with the man advantage into the end. One rotating up the main stairs to try and make things a little bit more even on the site, but no, in the end, still Aerial Arise as a very slow attack for 2FACED was met with a very stalwart defense from Ariel.
Yeah, they took quite a while to take control of that master side, push through, take control of 90, create that execute in the first place. And again, it's a one-side execute. They need people to go towards that study side. And by the time they got the wall open to try and make the cross, they even had Eddie throw Candelos through the vault drone hole to try and stop anyone from vault from swing. You still had the Shimiki grenades just flying by and dying in that last minute. He just shooting those Shimiki grenades, wasting all that time for them. At that point, you got to walk in. You got to walk through the fire and flames. And you saw members from 2FACED walk into Aviator through the fire, and they were just getting picked off again and again. Sure, they were getting some kills. They were making some damage as well onto Aerial's side, but Aerial were winning trades. They were doing the damage. They were stopping the plants. And once again, it comes down to time. That's the end of it.
Attackers need to locate and defuse bombs.
Final round of the half. Aerial Arise will go back to Trophy and Statuary. I thought we might see them go back to Kitchen, but the strategy overall from Ariel has worked very well so far on this site. Hopefully, we'll now see 2FACED fully realize how Wimpy is playing those Electric Claws as 2 times now, and the second round being, even though they won the round, in terms of the hard breaching, it was definitely the worst of those 2 rounds. We saw Poison use, I believe, all of his X-Kairos might have ended up being burned by the Electric Claws, at least 2/3, and the remaining third, if that's the case, he didn't really have enough time to use to fully set up and execute. So the Electric Claw play from Aerial Arise has been very good so far. If 2FACED don't have a counter for that, they'll find themselves in a similar situation, and they managed to make it work. But without those Candelas, and maybe say just even one body for Ariel remains up as opposed to last time, the round is still going to be incredibly difficult to win if they can't figure out how to open up that bedroom wall.
Yeah, because big thing last time is the fact that, well, Splash was covering well for the swing from the statue, but BC was blind, so he couldn't swing on bricks either. So that's kind of the big thing from last time. It allowed him to get the plant down. Well, maybe I say that maybe BC would have met his demise if he had fought one, across way against Splash. Hard to say. But maybe this time they can think they win that fight. But Gomez is actually playing here downstairs. We've seen 2FACED take control of this downstairs, take control of this dining and kitchen side with no resistance on this site twice in a row. But this time Gomez is by himself. I don't know if somebody from, Aerial Rise is going to be behind him, helping him out. But he's looking to take a fight and try and make it difficult for 2FACED this time, despite this fact that, Aerial Rise have let them do this in previous rounds. I don't actually know if he's there, but Silent will take a Kento playing outside of China. Gomez is going to play off of it, get the kill, get a refrag. Great. He's going to back off and run away off that trade. Pre-fires back on Splash, but nobody takes any real damage. And he's going to go back towards Astro Stairs. Whoopi's also down there too, playing that position. He's going to see if he can play those red stairs and see if anybody's aggressing towards them, but nobody is from 2FACED. They're going to make the way towards master bedroom, see if they can open this wall up.
I think that trade definitely favors Aerial Arise coming out. You lose those set of nades, and normally that Electric Claw, we saw Splash open up the floor to use that Impact Lifeline to look on through. That go around losing those nades. Can't open things up nearly as better. Doesn't matter, though, because the Electric Claw is gone. Wimpy decided to rotate strategies. I believe he poured both on that wall to start out, but now we have these Impact Grenades as well. You see Beastly now rotating over to that main wall to open things up, and with no hole made below, no player playing below to deny that main wall, you waste some more X-Kairos, but this go around, Poison can still open one up. You see the
What?
Twitch rotating over to make a solo play and study, but again, a lack of intel, just like we saw in the first round with Eddie, the very same player. He loses his life in the very same way. Poison sticks his face directly in the hard breach hole, but Wimpy's there to cut it clean off. Splash tries to thread the needle, but it's still Wimpy coming away the victor in all of these engagements. Kick's the only one left. He's got 1 kill for him so far, so he can be happy about that. Wimpy's still trying to find his 4th, and find it he will. As ARIAL Rise, they find their 4th as well, in a 4-2 half, taking the lead on Villa, on their opponent's map pick. It's all looking up for Wimpy and ARIAL at the side swap.
Maybe they should open the wall. They won the round when they didn't open the wall, and they lost the round both times when they opened the wall.
Poison should have just shot his utility straight up in spawn and gone for frags.
And again, like
That's
Eddie
the
as well.
analysis that we really need.
Last time Eddie played with them with the Candelas inside of Master, but both times they open the wall, Eddie just goes on a solo roam as an attacker.
I don't really.
And both times he's died to Wimpy.
Yeah, I think what we can definitely take away from that half is, while Wimpy adjusted his own play that actually, in the end, actually better service 2FACED to opening up that wall, doesn't seem like they ever really droned out that side of the map, did they, Benny? Because every single time, all 3 trophy statuary defenses, that's where Wimpy was playing. And on the final round, Eddie's just like, yeah, I'll just crouch into study. I'm sure there's nobody playing over here.
And Wimpy also slams somebody on that door every single time they played that site.
Yeah. Good play from Wimpy. But now, moving to 2FACED defense. See them go down to Kitchen and Dining, a site we only saw once from ARIAL Arise, but they're taking it a very similar way, aren't they, Benny? Or, well, at least for some of the operators.
In some of them, yeah. It depends. Are they going to set up that horizontal roam? They have utility to try and stomp that horizontal push.
No shields, though.
No shields, yeah. No shields. They're reinforcing the memorial wall. They've also reinforced the tri-wall inside of Statuary, so they are looking to maybe roam upstairs and not play horizontally. I say that, though. There are members like hordes that south side. I don't know, maybe for the moment at least. Well, we'll see, though. We'll see if they actually stick to the horizontal roam. Splash on the Vigil. He's going to be playing aggressively, looks like, running around on this top floor, roaming around, and we'll see if that ARIAL Rise can drone him out efficiently and see if he can deal with him early. So yeah, it looks like, yeah, no, they're going to go in for horizontal. They're going to be looking for a vertical play rather than a horizontal roam compared to ARIAL Rise.
See Splash getting aggressive. Might have Eddie in a position to relay intel to either the Vigil or the Melusi in case anybody, say, starts pushing over towards 90. Allow Kix to maybe get some intel, but right as I say that, Kix walks right in front of the window, and maybe the Pulse isn't exactly doing that, and Kix or Splash are more so on their own, ready to rotate back to the defenders playing inside of Trophy and Statuary at any given time, the moment they start feeling pressure, and they already have. Kix on low HP. Him and Splash have both rotated back. Here is Eddie, relaying intel, finding a player on that 90 window. Right now, it's Wimpy on that sledge, who will rotate down, but continue staying on that rappel. Not too much Eddie can do here. He has a C4 if he wants to even maybe go for a pre-place to blow it up. But yeah, you can see Wimpy is well aware of this trick, as it's a fairly common one. And Eddie is read like a book. He sat there the entire time, and as opposed to 2FACED in their attacks, with Eddie as well, now ARIAL actually used drones to find Eddie.
Yeah, they actually joined up pretty well there, and they just wall bang Wimpy elsewhere, take out Splash the Vigil, who's on the roam. So this roam seems to be all but dead for the moment, except for Silent. Silent was the Rooney up here. He's got that DMR in hand. He's looking to try and get at least 1 kill to even up a little bit. Dude, he's got no HP. He's got to run away. Kix has like 5 HP. He takes 1 bullet. He's gone. So he's probably gonna want to walk away.
Back.
Yeah, I would rotate back to side if I was you, Kix. But hey, I don't know. Maybe he's trying to they got to make some kills though, because they're down 2 men, so they have to make some kind of play here. They can't just let ARIAL Rise create this execute. And yeah, that's dude. Kix, he's in a great position.
Yeah, 1 HP, not rotating back. He is in a nice position, but Diaz is fully anticipating this, and he can very easily win that fight, even without a headshot. If Kix was just moving and shot too late, Diaz could very well put 1 bullet in Kix before Kix manages to take him down. I was going to say, the big thing going for 2FACED was a pre-play C4 that Poison still had, but I believe it got blown up, and it didn't find anybody for 2FACED. ARIAL Rise still at their full 5 manpower, and Silent and Poison are divided in what areas they can cover. Silent as well. Former that I mentioned, having holes ripped open above him at every single moment. Poison, you need to win those fights, my man. Kento on to Silent is a little bit less egregious. Silent, the 1v5, had to react quickly. Poison, he was still going to die after that one, but it just was the nail on the head for was overall very lackluster round for 2FACED off and on the site.
Yeah, that roam got dismantled immediately by Aerial Rise. Leaving Kicks on 5 HP, Kicks runs away. You hear the Vigil die as well later on. You see him quickly get picked off elsewhere. They pre-fire Eddie on the pulse inside the bathroom. They definitely had intel on his position, and DS was able to get that kill. Kicks goes for a flank mid-round on 5 HP, just kind of crouch walking towards DS's position. But obviously, you can tell they had intel because DS just turns around and waits for Kicks to peek the door and just murders him. And that point, it's a 2v5. And you can tell no one at that point, Silent can get a kill. Nobody can get a kick at that point when you're 2v5 and you're on kitchen dining. So, well, Aviator Games next for 2FACED, and they've got a trek of 3 rounds to make it back unless Arrow Rise make match point.
They do have a lot of good tools at their disposal, though, with Flores off the board. Arrow Rise didn't make much use of it, but we'll see 2FACED bring the Goyo and 2 other separate deployable shields. So without that Flores and those Rotero drones on the board, all of those go up in their impact. You can cover main stairs. You can have a shield looking into 90 as well. Have a shield, either Goyo or normal, on the maps table to allow for some play behind there as well, depending on where the attack pushes. If it's from 90, play behind that maps table. If you still have, say, study control in your hands. You have a lot of potential to use these deployable shields with the Tachanka as well. You can watch main stairs with the mirror windows. You can watch study. You want to have some roamers and trophy statuary, put some pressure on that side, you can too. This is a very universal lineup you faced right now. It's what we emphasized in the pre-show. That's their strengths. If there's any time for them to start bringing these rounds back, it's on this site with this setup.
Very true, but hey, this is going to be interesting. So there's no buck on the board for Arrow Rise, so they could try to grenade from below these positions that the mirror would be in, or they can try and take control of Classical, because Classical's that big one. If they can take control of main stairs and Classical, they can deny these mirrors entirely. Looks like BC's going to shoot some X-Kairos towards that wall. Splash should be able to destroy the Wimpy elsewhere. Takes out Eddie on the roam. Looks like he was by the board window, gets caught up by Wimpy on a rotate. That's an early pick, and they've already opened up this vault wall, so they can already deny that rotate between vault if they swing the vault door. But again, the big thing is the mirror windows, the C4s, the indirect denial when it comes to execute. But again, Arrow Rise could just try and go for kills instead, and Eddie goes bro.
Kicks, unfortunately, here, especially down a man. You can still contest this main stairs with the shield gone as well. Maybe they'll likely be a little bit more reticent to peek that angle to get aggressive in that position. Just playing passively, wasting more time, as Arrow Rise are in no position and no necessity to push just yet. They can have these players over inside a master bedroom, rotating over to 90, gaining control over there, as it's actually a full rotation. Thought there might still be a few people there, but they destroyed that shield and fully rotated over towards master bedroom to put pressure on Silent playing 90. And unfortunately for him, Kento has an angle on Silent that Silent just does not have on his opponent and his attacker. Kento can now, once the Silent has vacated the area, take that 90 control. Gomez, I almost call him Selena Gomez. Gomez has control down below. This is looking like a very good attack for Ariel. They have a lot of their bases covered. If they can get study as well, it's going to be difficult to lose this for the attack.
Honestly, if they can push Classical hallway here and take full control of this hallway and then deny those mirrors from behind, it could be huge here and them getting that plant down. But it looks like Kento's going to be watching it for now, see if he rotates for the moment. Silence in a position is going to open up one of those mirror windows, but he's still got a mirror window to use here. Grenade from below hits Splash inside of Vault. He doesn't actually take any damage, but he is aware somebody's below. He sees the head, but the grenade kills him in return. That's a trade for Wimpy and Splash. A grenade for a shot. Silence waiting for someone to peek through. Gomez will be the one to peek. He's take some shots in those ones peeking through those vault holes. Poison's going to peek through, do some heavy damage with that LMG onto Kento. And now at this point, there is a bit of a defense here still for 2FACED with the smoke now, and he's gonna go for a plant in a position you wouldn't expect behind the bomb chassis, not behind the vault door, but he actually reads it perfectly. Gomez has to get off the plant. Poison goes off. BC kills Poison though instead. So there goes one of the players nearby. Kicks is gonna have to swing onto the study balcony, and perfectly. And he had a chance to swing that. Is now all on Silence in a 1v4. He takes 2. Down goes both. Only 10 seconds. Can he stay alive? He downs another 1v1 onto Kento, and he wins it.
Well, that shouldn't have happened. The big thing for 2FACED in that round was the one saving grace that they had. Arrow Rise had their study angle. They had Beastly on the rappel. They had players pushing in to get a plant either behind Vault or behind the game's bomb chassis. But they still had 2FACED, had plenty of Shumiki grenades and smoke canisters to deny the plant. So, as opposed to say they only had one where they might have to allocate their resources accordingly, you can have one player Shumika behind Vault and the other throw toxic canisters behind the bomb chassis just to close off all your options. They're behind maps table as well. You can fire some grenades over there. All of that denial that 2FACED had, they could deny every conceivable plant spot from a push in from that angle. Of course, it still doesn't end up working out. They push Gomez off the plant, which buys them a lot of time. But Beastly's able to get kicks, and I believe it might have been Splash as well. I can't remember exactly, but I believe it was Splash. Both who were peeking him on the balcony. But then at that point, ARIAL Arise instead opt to try and go for the kills, and Silent just makes magic happen inside a vault. And there's not much else to say about that. In a 1v4, in most situations, the attack should win that. But maybe the smoke grenades denied some angles. Maybe some timing went in his favor that we didn't see. Whatever happened.
was a big one there, really.
That's true.
The fact that both Beastly and Gomez lined up at that moment puts in a 1v2 and both players left are one player's coming from Classical behind the synchronization of DS, who's already inside of Aviator, gives him 2 1v1s at the end there. So I will say Magic. Yeah, I agree with Magic was really that.
Now a rotation onto Trophy and Statuaries. He Poison, moved to the Clash. Like the back when I casted Amateur a bit more frequently, I always associated JJ. Out of all the T3 IGLs, he was the one that I normally associated Clash with. But Poison, certainly. In
Where's the roaming smoke?
In his wheelhouse, we have not seen a roaming smoke so far. It might be a bit of an old meme at this point, but I've not seen it. Very disappointed. Only one round in, though. And there's actually Silent on the smoke last time, so.
Maybe we'll see. Maybe. Depending on what we got. Hey, we're on Trophy Statuary, though. We're going to see how ARIAL Rise does attack as looking to just clear. Again, they're clearing below. They're taking control of this dining kitchen area like we saw from 2FACE. 2FACE isn't going to be contesting it whatsoever, though. And now we're going to see if they can destroy these shields and destroy these, from below, destroy these utility on the side of 2FACE. Grenade comes out looking to destroy one of those shields. Looks like he'll make a hole. No, actually kill anybody. I don't know if he destroyed a shield either, actually, with that. But so far, 2FACE is kind of chilling.
Not under much pressure yet, but that could change very soon. One important note. The bedroom wall is not electrified right now. However,
he's gonna trick it.
Splash is doing a very similar play to what Wimpy was doing, going for that Electric Claw trick. So you can see him put one directly on there, and unfortunately for ARIAL Rise, not much they can do to really stop it based off Wimpy's position. He could get the Electric Claw off, could even damage Splash, but he still got one in his pocket. He can put it there. Now Wimpy, well, he's got one nade left, but he's already rotating to a different position. And the moment they realize, actually, did the wall get opened anyway?
Yep, I think they did. I think that he destroyed the rest of Electric Claws with that grenade, actually. So, yep.
Wow. Okay. I thought
I don't know
Splash
if he put the other one somewhere else or where it went to. But...
I thought Splash put it on the wall.
Oh, he put it on the other wall.
Oh, okay. Okay. Never mind then.
Hey. They looks like they're taking Astro control, though. They got the Kerosene Astro. They're going to push an Astro, take this control, and see if they can deal with it. But they full reinforced and full electrified the wall in a trophy, though. So now they kind of have to either go for a statuary push with still a shield here. Splash with a great kill on a Beastly as well. And this is kind of that Astro control isn't nearly as strong. But a great kill on a Gomez, too.
It is a nice kill on to Gomez, but the problem is ARIAL Rise still have that very good better mangle that can watch the rotate in from either Statue or Astro, but Kix has been able to get the kills so far behind this shield. Silent playing around Poison on that shield is doing very well for himself so far too. DS Lucas, not many avenues left inside of the site. He's got a shield staring him directly in the face, a Jaeger close by, and an alibi behind him. Can't really do anything at all. He's going to get peeked from somewhere, and he just has to decide where and how he wants to die. Will say I was a little bit confused. I was like, why not Electro Claw? That master bedroom wall. But ARIAL Rise pushed directly into Astronomy. They can't open that wall anymore. Gives a very safe place for the Clash to sit behind and anybody playing around her.
2 Electro Claw or not 2 Electro Claw?
Was the question, and well, we're like, well, we'll tell you.
That was an interesting play though, because they full reinforced between Astro and Trophy. I guess they reinforced it after seeing their Astro player die, and then kind of using that clash to bar both shots and entry in a trophy, forcing them to go for Statuary. That's where you saw Kix with the shield playing it as the alibi, and then they still have the the far off shots. They still can deny from trophy, back if they go towards red, or if they go for just shots across the way towards bricks. So all in all, pretty good strat from 2FACED actually, and I'm really, first time I ever saw that actually. I've never seen a strat like that.
I not either. But you know what strat I have seen before? This.
It doesn't look much different, actually. Yeah.
Saw it 2 rounds ago. Well, I guess technically 3 rounds ago at this point.
Technically, yeah.
Depends on how you view it, I suppose. 3 rounds ago, saw this exact same setup from 2FACED. We saw a roam, specifically Splash and Kicks, rotated over and placed over towards Aviator Games, Eddie down below in living room and library, feeding intel on any attackers, either pushing them or pushing in through 90. But Eddie overstayed his welcome long after Splash and Kicks left, and unfortunately found himself the early recipient of a wall bang from DS Lucas. This time he's sitting inside the site, not getting nearly as aggressive, and instead, Splash, Kicks, and now Silent, who was before inside of Trophy and Statuary, are all 3 located inside of Aviator Games to get any bit of early intel denial, hurt Aerial Arise's drone economy, or maybe even a pick if anybody on the attack is a little bit reckless.
Also, yeah, there's 3 of them up here. Oh my god. Yeah, 3 members of the defense on 2FACED just waiting for a fight here by Aviator Games. Wimpy once again will open up that 90 window. He did heavy damage to Kicks last time as window. He's going to back off. He's going to push back towards Vault. And really, at this point, are they going to overstay the welcome? Silent getting aggressive, looking to take someone to fight on someone on study balcony, but nobody's there for the moment. One pushing up the main stairs. The Finka of Kenta with the spear. There's debate on a second there, but he's actually going to pull back down. Wimpy will, confirm there is presence in Aviator Games. He's going to pre-fire through, do heavy damage to Splash, pre-firing into Games. Kicks is pushed back towards that Astro side, and so far, Splash and Silent are still overstaying. They're waiting for a chance.
Yeah, before they were not only pushed back, but then subsequently dispatched fairly quickly by the attack. This go-around, Splash, who is now alone, but quickly rotating back. And never mind, Silent is still just sitting inside a study, because, well, why not? Now they can have a lot more impact. Not only if there's any holes made upstairs, they can watch those as Aerial Arise. Still have half the round remaining, but are looking to give up that top floor clear for the moment, instead rotate down, but DS Lucas, who's still watching the flank as he always does, catches Silent on, well, a rotate back. Finds him as he was sitting alone inside of study. Now this gives an opportunity for Splash, maybe in the chaos, and as Aerial Arise are rotating their attack, to slowly move down red, get a nice pick. Only 2 drones left for Aerial Arise, so actually if he takes down that one drone, that's the remaining drone economy for Aerial, cut in by 50%. Instead, opens up the bicycle wall instead to begin to move in. 2 players inside that window, does not matter. It's not open, Splash can move in there effectively, but has to be careful about anybody that could potentially open that up, because he could find himself in a nasty crossfire if they start pushing that door and the bicycle window as well. You'll likely have to win a fight. Right now, it's instead more over towards living room and library, brown stairs, and laundry. And none of it is particularly working for Aerial. Might be an even 3v3 with Kicks and Splash, both on low HP. But Kento has to push in directly without much intel for Aerial, but thankfully Wimpy has his back. Takes down Kicks, a C4 flies over, but it doesn't do any semblance of damage. Now it's Aerial, who not only have the man advantage with the smoke grenades as well, they have these advantageous angles, denying sight lines to Splash. He rotates in, downs the sledge. Wimpy put on the floor. DS Lucas able to get the bomb down successfully. They can start rotating back. Splash does down Kento. I didn't even realize. I thought he had more health than that. It's DS Lucas stuck in the 1v1, but he's on full HP, and Splash is more worse for wear. DS Lucas pulls back. The Finka gets back up, but it can still be easily dispatched by the Vigil. And he has to bait. He has to try and get DS Lucas to take a gunfight, commit to it, and then Splash can take it down. But no, he's sticking. DS Lucas has to shoot, and Splash tries to stick, knows that pros don't fake, but he stays on a little bit too long and gives DS Lucas enough time to find an angle, win the fight, and put Aerial on match point.
Oh, that was so possible for Splash, though. Wow. He turned that around, but that was definitely a messy round, though, for Aerial Rise. They didn't quite go for, they didn't clear out vertically this time. They didn't try to clear the roam. Having seen there were 3 roamers on the side of, 2FACED upstairs, they transitioned to a horizontal take instead, knowing that there was a lot of stock on that top floor. DS gets the first pick. He denies a flank 1 player, though, but later on in that push, though, you see players from 2FACED, because they hadn't cleared that vertical roam, they were able to flank later on. Case getting a kill on brown stairs. Members getting kills elsewhere. They push in, that you saw earlier that I think it was Wimpy or I think it was Beastly or Gomez pushing for it in. They didn't get those kills they needed to. They didn't get that pick they need to on pushing in. Kind of, but in the end, it allows for Aerial Rise to still gain the control pantry, get into the site, but in that point, get the plant down. Splash kills the sled. In that instance, he could have actually maybe denied the plant, but he sees the person behind that was Kento behind the bomb chassis, does down them, but in that instance, allows for DS to get the plant down, back off, and make it a 1v1 post plan. In that situation, it's difficult for the defender. You gotta somehow try and bait out the attacker and get that pick, and he almost does. He does bait out DS, but a little bit too long. Tries to get off the plant. Unfortunately, can't get off fast enough. He gets shot in the back.
2FACED again, repeating strategies, and it's not a bad one in theory. It gives them a lot of utility, gives them a lot of options, but overall, throughout the course of the round, ARIAL Arise able to put some early pressure on main stairs, do a little bit of damage to utility for 2FACED, and then rotate over to Master Bedroom, and again, effectively push the defense back, do a lot of harm to their utility, open up angles inside of the site, and start to move in for a plant. But they didn't really manage to take down much of not only some of the important players for 2FACED, but also do some damage to the important utility. 2FACED did a very good job of not getting trigger happy with their Shamika grenades or throwing too many of their smoke canisters, keeping most of them for the plant that ended up, even though it came down to 1v4, allowing that 1v4 to even happen in the first place. Here, maybe denying ARIAL's entry a little bit more aggressively into Trophy Statuary. We saw Silent play a little bit inside of 90. Now Splash playing a little bit more aggressively in that position might be the key. Or Kix maybe getting a little bit more aggressive on main stairs in tandem with somebody, say, playing behind bar, as I don't believe there's anybody playing there now, and there's no holes made either. That could be the key to the game. But as of right now, what's stopping ARIAL from, well, getting the exact same early control and early utility damage they did last time? Not much.
Yeah, at this point, I think really is that Shamika grenades that denied the main stairs, and well, this time at least ARIAL Rise isn't making it a north or south to north take. This time they're going for that main stairs take instead. Silent taking heavy damage from the balcony. He'll shoot shot backs, but Gomez has won his fight there, at least done the most damage in that regard. So that now grenades from below. Wimpy will start to throw grenades, try and deal with these players on main stairs. Grenade comes out, Kix will deny at least dodge that grenade, make his way back towards Classical and stay alive. So at this point now, ARIAL Rise can take the main stairs control, and on the back, there's actually two members flanking. He takes one. Kento gets one kill, looking for the second onto Eddie. He will take that one too.
So far, 2FACE's idea of trying to bring these rounds back have been flanks, and ARIAL Arise have done such an effortless job of dealing with them, shutting them down, and forcing the players on site to make the big plays. Poison Kicks, the only two left. They do have holes behind long bar, but at this point, ARIAL Arise are long up main stairs and inside of study, and Mr. P, the only one left, will just die and give ARIAL their third flawless round out of 11 rounds in this game. Moving on to their map pick 7-4, ARIAL Arise will surely be feeling pretty nice.
Also, yeah, it was some great parts in there, great rounds from 2FACED. When it came to that defense, though, a lot of times that aggressive roam was being countered time and time again by ARIAL Rise. Whether it be that last round, whether it be rounds before that. And we're going to see how it works out when we go on to the next map, Clubhouse, though. Are they still trying to do that aggressive roam? And on a map like Clubhouse, I feel like it's much easier to even deal with those roams, too.
Well, definitely there seemed to be, when it came to retaking, once they, say, either wanted to acquire some new map control or disrupt ARIAL Rise's attack, 2FACED are always like, okay, let's flank. Let's flank.
Yep.
Let's flank. But against literally one of the best flank watches in T2 NA right now, DS Lucas, yeah, I know he gets accused of baiting, but he is on flank watch. That is like kind of his job at times. Definitely in that match, he was watching anybody rotating down study, anybody rotating down red, down any of the staircases, or anybody moving in through living room or library. Kento was doing that as well, specifically in the last round, but that was more so by accident than actually intention. 2FACED kept trying to bring those defensive rounds back by, say, flanks, and when it was actually their site play that did the talking, that's when they won the majority of those rounds on the defense, excluding, of course, the one clutch by Silent, the 1v4. It was actually their site play that seemed to actually work the best on their defense, and when they were trying to get aggressive, after the roam had already fallen or retreated, but afterwards, that's when the mistakes seemed to happen.
Yeah, that trophy statue round was like exactly that. That site play with the clash, reinforcing all of Astro, playing with the shields, playing with the clash there was great from 2FACED. That was like perfect play from them. And in every other round, though, that roam game for them was either you saw it's like you said, flanks were caught off by a DS or Kento, or it was just ARIAL Rise being able to clear out the roam perfectly, like we saw on that trophy statue round where they were roaming towards that far side, or that kitchen defense round, kitchen dining round, where we just saw all the roamers get cleared out immediately within the first minute or so. So it's gonna be interesting to see on Clubhouse what they do, if they do anything different per se.
Well, we'll have to find out soon. Before we go to a break, we do have one quick shout out to our sponsor, Mike and Ike's, the fruity, chewy candies that are sometimes sour, sometimes not so much so, that you can get either in the original or the Mega Mix, the longtime sponsors of NSG, now SCS6. Certainly one that I am a big fan of and have appreciated for a long time their long-standing support for SCS and NSG. So if you want to power up your game with Mike and Ike's, get the original, the green box, or the Mega Mix, the more blue-colored box. Power up your game and play like some of the best players inside of Rainbow Six Siege. That's map 1, done and dusted. Going into map 2 Clubhouse, Aerial Arise up 1-0 in the series. We'll figure out the results very soon, just after this quick break.
Hey, I'm Splash and I play for 2FACED. Players after the stage, they like usually relax and don't like try their hardest or whatever. And with competitions in the off season, I think teams will give it their all, like to prepare for these NSG tournaments, the 10K, the 5K, SCS. Keep players like focused and to give it their all. In the amateur scene, I don't think there's a lot of people to worry about besides Mystic and Surf. You're just gonna have like a 4-man push, and then you're gonna have like Gunner's dumbass hitting a window in the back, getting his 1 kill, or you're gonna have Ashen shooting a little bullet hole in a barricade, getting his 1 free kill, doing nothing for the team. So I think once you stop that, once you get that freebie, I think it'll be really easy to adapt to the amateur scene. Me and Poison joined for Surf and Butters. Poison definitely isn't the best mechanically, but he brings a lot to the team, like his strats and his like philosophy of how to become a better team. And I also can entry with the droning of Poison, the core 3 of Eddie, Kicks, and Silent. I think that we'll be able to surprise people this stage. Now I'm gonna annihilate 2 people, and I'm gonna annihilate Ashen because he's my son and I own him. And by me annihilating him, it's gonna make him a better player. And the other person is going to be Tones because he talks a lot of shit and he can talk the talk, but I don't think he can walk the walk. I'm going to look forward to, actually, I don't even think I'm going to be able to annihilate him because they have to make it out of groups. And I don't know if they're going to make it out of groups. It's definitely Silent. I would say Kicks, but after stage 3, I think a lot of people are doubting Silent because he had a 0.75 and was like the lowest rated CO player behind Gotcha. He wasn't on the right roles, I think, and I think for the next stage, he's going to prove a lot of people wrong because we got him on the right roles now, and yeah. I think old SSG definitely inspired me to play competitive Siege, like with Thinking Ned and Canadian, like watching them win Invite. What inspired me to go, like, to try and go pro is definitely XSET. Look at their team, like NVK, Filthy, like they're horrible players, and if they can go pro, like I think like anyone can go pro at that point. So it's really inspired me to try and go pro now. I definitely upgrade my PC because it's really shitty. Buy lots of drugs and go to an adult party. It's definitely George or Silent because he's a badass and he just buys Dominoes. He spent his KG money on Dominoes. Brownies, Dominoes brownies actually, and a pizza, but I don't know. Who would eat Dominoes? My cousin Vinny, Joe Pesce. I think it's a really good movie. If you haven't watched it, you should watch it. It's about like a lawyer helping his nephew, and it's really funny. To play Siege, go to the gym, hang out with friends, play pickup basketball, play baseball, hit. Also, I like to I don't know, watch TV, Netflix, and yeah, that's about it.
Tournament during the season of snow, filled with contenders of might, with names Deez, Ligma, and Joe. The road was a trying one, wrists aching with cramps. In the end, victors rose. We called them Winter Champs. Before they departed, they left us these words. Our journey's just begun. All thanks to the nerds.
Make that a 1v2.
2 seconds left. It's gonna come down.
We're making a third as he looks up. Making a finds the drop 3. Stunning here from.
After a victory on their opponent's map pick, Aerial Arise get to go to theirs a little bit more comfortable with the sail. or the wind in their sails. Excuse me, already messing up sayings, and we're only 2 seconds in. I'm Lynx, joined by Benny. But as I said, 7-4 on Villa. 2FACED pick. They get to go to Clubhouse, where it's not exactly the greatest map in their history. Certainly not necessarily the best showings, but one they're certainly not shy from playing.
Yeah, it's like here we saw again and again, it's just plays made by players on ARIAL Rise, whether it be crazy aggression or be denying the aggression from 2FACED. They showed quite a lot in this game on Villa, and unfortunately 2FACED 7-4, not looking, well, 4-7, not looking good for them going into the map choice of ARIAL Rise.
No, I wouldn't say not the best, but 7-4 loss. Sure, it's on your map pick. Still not terrible by any means.
Yeah.
More important part is that it was, on your map pick. It's kind of the issue.
Yeah.
But it is also a map like Clubhouse. The joke for a long time was the T3 maps were always Club, Cafe, and Villa. We just got Villa out of the way. But Poison, who, I'm sorry, as he is 18 now, he's been grinding for a long time. He deserves to be placed in T2, at least just in terms of how much work he's put in. He's always the T3 IGL in my mind. And I know he's going to have some stuff cooked up on Clubhouse just by the sheer amount of times that him and the rest of this team, who are really just made up of a lot of T3 journeymen, especially Kicks, or not even journeymen, Kicks, Eddie, and Silent, coming in on aggro and just seem to run everybody's pockets in the amateur scene for a while. Clubhouse is not going to be a map they're in any ways uncomfortable playing, or at least I hope, in theory.
In there, like you see here, the Wimpy with 4 entry picks in that game. Diaz with 3 of his own, and we can see those entry picks though. Wimpy on defense, especially, he was slamming people with that Kaid though, with the dog.
Yeah. Overall, ARIAL Arise 9-2 on the entry after map number 1. On a map like Villa, 2. Though I will say, I feel like Benny, some of those picks were I'd say probably split evenly. Some of those picks were coming a little bit later into the round, not necessarily, early on getting that entry. Sometimes it was the case. Sometimes it was an opening pick with a minute 15 left, that sort of thing.
Yeah.
There's still a stat line going into map number 2 on Clubhouse where, say we're talking about an extended roam on basement, or if there are necessary positions to clear out like garage, rarely being able to open up some of these situations and get a pick out of it, certainly going to be something that will bear you very well on certain sites in Clubhouse like, say, basement, or extensions on a site like gym.
Hey, we'll see how it works though, because yeah, I definitely agree with you. I'm going to see, again, we see same thing. ARIAL Rise on defense, 2FACED on attack here. Their attacks weren't horrible per se on Villa, but they should be more refined than a map like Clubhouse, because like you said, T3 maps, like Clubhouse is one of those maps that's been around for quite a long time. So we should definitely just see some more fleshed out strats and not just kind of, focusing only on one side that but only giving control of, Master Bedroom on Villa was the only thing they really got.
Well, we'll see how things end up faring out. Moving into the ban phase. Again, this is ARIAL Arise's map pick. They're currently 1-0 in the series. If they win this, not only do they win this series, they qualify for playoffs. If you're not familiar with the format, you win 2 best-of-3s, you're in playoffs. You win one and lose one, you got to play a third to decide whether you're the second team eliminated in your group or the second team to join playoffs. That is what both these teams are fighting for right now. Either make it into playoffs or who is going to be that team that needs to play one more best-of-3 to decide. First man on the board is Maverick. Will we have a Thatcher follow-up, Benny? Or will it be maybe another hard breach?
Yeah, I think the other day we saw Maverick Cabana, so it could be another hard breach, and there it is. 2 hard breach bans off the board. Does that still warrant Mira and Valkyrie? Probably at least a Valkyrie, but Mira could maybe be good. Maybe you could just, you could discuss or debate on banning Mira.
Mira is certainly a very viable option. That's what we'll see. Valkyrie on the board, though. Do 2FACED want to leave it up against ARIAL? Kento, a player who very much likes to play that Valkyrie, but it's sort of a threat where, sure, maybe you're fine using it, but leaving it up against a team who will also very likely have a player who would love to play that character,
well,
could be a big risk. Taking on the Kaid is still a good ban, don't get me wrong. Makes perfect sense, but importantly, not only is Valkyrie still up, so ARIAL Arise, maybe Kento can use that on the defense. Thatcher is also left on the board, so we're going to see likely a lot more Bandit, 1, because of the Kaid's absence, and 2, maybe to try and counter the EMPs and go for some more Bandit tricking, depending on what happens, say, on sites like CCTV.
Because it's interesting, because Valkyrie's been banned so often, so I wonder if the teams still understand how to play. They probably understand how to play Valkyrie. Really, can't say they don't, but we'll see how much of an effect she has on this game. And well, so far we're going to the Church and Arsenal for our first defense, and it's actually a 6 pick from Valkyrie to an Oryx, out of all things, on a basement defense. Well, you can tell from this, operator lineup, it's going to be a roam, obviously.
It's funny, both the operators I mentioned on both the attack and the defense were more so used as tools just to try to maybe scare the opposing side into anticipating something. You see DS Lucas bring out the Valkyrie, bait it out, and instead rotate to an Oryx. Just want, fast operator with a good gun. Try and play for some frags somewhere upstairs, as it is an extended roam with the Mute and the Mozzie. So just having an operator who can get away quickly and also take fights if they need to is certainly not a bad pick, the Oryx is. And on the opposite side for the attack, with Cade on the board, if you're anticipating extended roam, which likely based on the lineup, 2FACED realize it is, without a Cade, there's not going to be that much hard destruction or hard breach denial you need to bypass. Maybe a mute, but that's even then likely going to be used for drone denial. You can open up those hatches pretty easily once you clear out upstairs. Thatcher, based on this site, with this setup, not actually all that necessary.
Yeah, I think the only place you really could use Thatcher really well here would be either on the tri-wall, if there is anything like a bandit, or it would be on blue. See if you know what deny ADSs to get someone killed, but you can tell from the lineup, there's not going to be that kind of play though. So yeah, like you said, not really a reason to bring a Thatcher for this site, but hey, we'll see how they do here. If they're going to see how they clear this roam, because you see Gomez, Wimpy, Kento. Really, I think everyone's roaming on the side of the roam. Maybe not Beastly. Beastly maybe the only one on site. But looks like there's quite a few roamers here for 2FACED to deal with, and they're going to see if they can drone them out despite the Mozzie, the Mute, and the Vigil on the board, and if they can still do so. Wimpy, we'll see a couple drones, took a drone down, he'll back off towards CCTV. These walls are reinforced though, and they have mute jammers, so they have to heal those mute jammers first if they want to open up the CCTV wall or that jacuzzi wall. Maybe that's muted too, actually. Yeah, it probably is.
This is the one problematic thing right now. Normally, some of the more common entry points for clearing out that roam are shut off, as you pointed out, with the mute jammers and the reinforcements. So they wanted to go for any cutoffs, they'd have to go at windows, and right now Wimpy is already rotating back. Kento in a bit of a tricky position, as 2FACED have opted not to put pressure on Wimpy or Gomez, but instead quickly coalesce around Bar from all sides. We do have one player on that flat balcony, but everyone else is on this first floor looking to try and see if they can
Wimpy.
pressure Kento. But Wimpy still inside of CCTV, rotates back down. The moment, never mind, rotates back up instead just to play on those red stairs. Kento also has Gomez up above on the hatch. I believe DS Lucas inside of kitchen as well, so he's not fully alone. But a minute 30 right now, and Benny, not much has happened. 2FACED have just sort of rotated to the first floor, and then that's it.
Yeah, like I was expecting an engagement because I saw Kento jump off red
too.
stairs, and I thought someone was in lounge or pit, but nobody's there. And he's not. It just somebody. Wimpy just backs off, and he's just still playing red. Gomez has a great angle from the hatch, but won't find a kill. He'll do a lot of damage to poison with an MP5. It is a low damage weapon, unfortunately. But Wimpy has a position to try and flank one of these members on secret stairs. DS gets killed into Eddie, and there it is. Someone on secret stairs. Poison making his push elsewhere. Down goes the person blue, so the blue push goes out the window. Gomez is trying to push into kitchen and Silent elsewhere. Silent's pushing for dirt, gets 2 picks of his own, and it kind of opens up for his team in a sense. Now that blue take is actually in their favor too.
Oh, yeah. Doesn't stand a chance there. Yeah, unfortunately, the timing not going his way, but here's the important thing. Kitchen hatch opened up, allowing Gomez to rotate back. He can now use it as an angle watching inside of the site. Sees both players line up directly in front of him. One with the diffuser dropped on the floor. If Splash wants to get the bomb, he's got to go recover it. He will manage to do it successfully, but it's at the cost of a blood sacrifice, or a blood cost, however you want to phrase it. He's on 1 HP. Took a lot of his life force to pick up that diffuser. Now, Gomez is the angle. He can drop down, force Splash off, play the waiting game, make Splash scared to get that bomb down. He'll slowly creep up with the markers going towards him. That's a 1v3 from Gomez to start out round number 1. Map number 2 for ARIAL Arise. But it was mostly built on the back of ARIAL, or 2FACED, basing their entire execute and flood off of getting kills on the site and not clearing out anything else.
Yeah, I would say they tried to, try to circumvent the roam. You saw them really push it horizontal, take control of the first floor, then go for dirt, go for blue, go for different angles, and most of them didn't work except for that dirt push, which that dirt push allowed for that push through blue to work later on. And they had some control, but you're in a, it was a 1v3 like we said there. It was just Gomez on the hatch and kitchen. And it looks like they knew he was there too, because you saw when those players got into Arsenal, they pre-fired the hatch, either knowing he was there or expecting him there. And from that point of surprise, they took that fight rather than maybe trying to walk off towards, or at least run off towards kitchen. Hard to say. It's definitely a difficult situation when you're trying to just, bypass the road, push on site, and you don't know where the last defender is at.
With a rotation up to CCTV, we will see that Bandit. Not only because, of course, if you want to have a Thatcher on the board, Bandit's a little bit easier to deny. Also, if you want to have some more hard breach denial instead of a mute, Bandit's your only other option with Cade banned. Of course, 2FACED aren't bringing the Thatcher, but why would ARIAL bring it? Well, Wimpy is simply the GOAT on Bandit. If you did not watch his mind-blowingly awesome playoffs performance on Bandit, where I believe he had a 4K just running around the server sack inside of CCTV. It's an operator that Wimpy very much enjoys and feels comfortable playing on CCTV and Cash, and one with a Thatcher ban or with Thatcher up, very good playing. 2FACED not bringing that. They do have a Capitao instead, and that lends itself very well to clearing out anybody, mainly in this case, Beastly and DS Lucas, playing in Garage.
I was say this is just like the old days where you open up the pilot garage and you just shoot the the fire bolt over towards that wall to stop the bandit tricking. When bandit tricking was more
nostalgia.
a thing.
I miss it.
Yeah, that's a while ago. It's not really a thing anymore. Bandit tricking doesn't happen quite as often. But they'll open up, use one exothermic charge on the garage wall to start us off. But I'm not sure if they're really even thinking that there's a bandit tricking happening, as you still have kicks go below, destroy from below, destroy that floor below Wimpy to stop him. Wimpy's actually no, from the window, he's actually going to get killed by Eddie as he tries to, worm his way underneath it. And so far, the wall will go open, and Wimpy on the bandit isn't quite a thing this round, unfortunately.
No, not really. He got some on the floor, but because he was going for something a bit more active, Eddie just rotates to the window, catches him off right as he's moving. Not much he can do at that point. Now Beastly, and to a lesser extent DS Lucas, but mainly Beastly, facing a lot of pressure. They have to deal with that plat wall angle that can now cut off part of their rotation in Garage. Bottom floor opened up as well. Part of that garage wall even soft. DS Lucas can have an angle looking through that if he wants to peek up and help help Beastly a little bit if he gets pressure from those garage doors. But beyond that, especially now where 2FACED have opened up so many of these angles and ARIAL Arise are rotating directly into them, the only real presence they have is this garage control, and DS Lucas and Beastly aren't in much of a position to rotate back. Gomez even tries to make a play, brazenly swings the plat wall, and now Beastly's the only one left outside of the site in a 1v5. And he just crosses the window, and Beastly can't even react in time. I mean, that was not necessarily anything spectacular from 2FACED. They just opened up very common angles, and ARIAL walked directly into them.
Yeah, it was kind of like a very, not to say basic, but almost like what you expect on Clubhouse, what we've seen before. Just, you firebolt the position so you don't get bandit tricked. You open the wall up, but then there's positions like we saw from Wimpy. Wimpy getting aggressive in a sense, just lying down by the window, gets caught off by Eddie. And then you saw too, like you said before, getting caught off and rotates. Kento running downstairs, gets caught off. A grenade onto Diaz, who's playing Rafters. Unfortunately, you only have the Momai, didn't have the Jaeger there really, so only so many discs you can stop a grenade there. And from that point on, it was just players getting picked off one by one, leaving one player alive in a 1v5, a flawless round from the side of 2FACED to answer back to make sure that they're not down and out. They're still here. They're still ready to win this map and go next one.
On CCTV as well, one of those primary sites, good win to pick up. Of course, attacking on club is not nearly as bad as it used to be, so
I'll say playing Rafters these days is
yeah, playing Rafters these days can be a bit problematic. Of course, you have the ADSs and the magnets, but you have a situation like that where a plat wall's opened up and you're not really able to rotate very well. You can have all the projectile denial you want, but if you're basically stuck in a box, nade's going to land at your feet eventually, one way or another. The enemy team is good enough. Right now, of course, it appears the site is gym and bedroom. I see all 5 are locked in. Could change if they have time. I don't think they do, though. So that is the site we'll see. We'll see all 3 sites in the first 3 rounds. And so far for ARIAL Arise, they have 1 round on the board, but it did take a 1v3, and the second round was flawless for 2FACED. Out of some things you can get. It is an early timeout. I believe there might be something up with one of the players.
Was that tech timeout?
I think that was a tactical timeout. Never mind.
Yeah, I wasn't sure if that was a tech timeout or a tactical timeout.
For context, Kix had not picked an operator yet, so I wasn't sure if he disconnected or something. But no, he's here. It was a tactical timeout.
All right, well, they took an early timeout, and they're ready to keep that momentum going here for 2FACED so they can just keep winning rounds. Well, we'll go on to gym and bedroom next for ARIAL Rise. Valkyrie finally being brought. We haven't seen Valkyrie, despite being unbanned, we haven't seen it just yet from ARIAL Rise. Only been 2 rounds. But we'll see how much it affects this round, because intel, we've seen in other games, having that intel, having those cams in your pockets, allowing for your team can play off very aggressively off them, can get some crazy kills, and do some heavy damage to the attack early on. We'll see what happens next.
See the Valkyrie on the board. Those black eyes. Gonna allow anybody playing, if they want to extend it CCTV or cache, but even if you just extend into construction, be a lot easier and a lot better knowing you have some intel to potentially gain if anybody pushes in. Right now, I do see some reinforcements dedicated to cache, so it won't be a con extension. Also, well, there's no deployable shield for the defense, so can't really do a con extension without a shield. You have to do CCTV and cache. Those bandit batteries as well. Didn't actually expect basically to put those on the cache wall. Normally you see those dedicated to the jacuzzi wall, or
Oh, he's got
maybe
one of the
even-
single con walls too as well.
Yeah, and maybe even on a single panel, but that does mean that the jacuzzi wall is fully able to be opened up by an
Unless
exothermic
he's
charge.
ban tricking.
I mean, he could be bandit tricking, that is true, but kind of like the CCTV, you can just deny that from gym windows since there's no castle on the board.
There is the runic gate, so at least you can stop a projectile. One.
If you can just shoot him.
True, that is why I can just shoot him.
If you have CCTV and nobody can peek the CC window, you can just shoot the bandit.
Well, Beastly's trying his best to stay in the hallway. Will he do a job different? They're actually going to have a Thatcher available so they can actually deal with these bandit batteries. Open up the single con wall. Gomez blows up next to him. He's going to walk by and enter into cache. And so far, they're looking to take full control of this master balcony, especially because CC's cleared. There's someone on the plat wall, or on plat, so they can deny anybody from watching it or anybody from playing that window. So now they just go jacuzzi. They can also, Thatcher this, EMP it, and they get this wall open, and that's two sides now. And that's a play now. Question mark, will 2FACED actually try to clear out cache, or are they just going to try and go from these windows and push on in and get those kills?
Still minute 40 in the round. I think the best bet is just holding CCTV right now. And,
yep, like you said.
Exactly. There you go. You just hold CCTV, make sure nobody can peek that window. Once Poison goes for the exothermic, just watch the window and take the bandit down if he tries to go for the trick. Kento will run out of the garage, or run out of garage, find a kill onto Kicks, but Gomez walks again directly into an angle held by 2FACED, loses his life. DS Lucas and Kento the only ones left, and they're stuck inside a cache right now in a position where they have to play for the retake, but they catch Eddie off guard. On the metal balcony, nobody watching that CC window anymore. There's still plenty that 2FACED can do to win this round. A minute left. Poison in a very nice position to get the bomb down. Even watch one of the crosses rotating back into the site. But Silent, his coverage, felled, taken down off the board. But both members of ARIAL are on low HP, and Poison has time to play with, talk over with his team, and figure out the best course of action. In all likelihood, going for the plant will be difficult. Not only can ARIAL Arise play for the trade, DS Lucas has an impact nade on the board as well, so he can toss something from afar, maybe scare Poison off the plant if he wants to. He'll rotate in a bedroom, and this is good rotation. Get the plant behind the mattress, something that cannot be wall-banged. It doesn't give itself to it as easy as an angle. Gets the bomb successfully, but now he's got to peek up. Where are they pushing him? Response 1 and a second! A massive flick! Poison, how do you do that? Has to instantly react. No intel for him. Manages to pick up 2, and the second round for 2FACED.
Oh, 2 in a row for 2FACED. What a clutch there from Mr. P himself. But really, that round, yeah, that was a lot of control from 2FACED. Like we were talking about, like Blinks was talking about earlier, was just you have control of plat. You can deny peeking that CC window. You have control of the balcony. You can deny a BC from bandit tricking. Get that jacuzzi wall open. And time again, because of all that control, it forces ARIAL Rise to peak angles. They have to get aggressive. They have to stop this control from being taken by 2FACED, and time again, they were losing most of those fights up until the end, though. In the end there, we see the two members from ARIAL Rise bring it back, put it in a 2v1, but both players are low. And the last player in 2FACED knows where their location is. He has time to talk about his team, get that plant down. Unfortunately, while getting the plant down, nobody from ARIAL Rise moved into a better position to try and, maybe pinch that player, because they didn't know where he was planting. They just know he's planting somewhere inside of bedroom or gym. So they go on, they push from gold. They both push from logic into bedroom. And Mr. P, Poison himself, deals with both of them with a great flick.
It's not even like ARIAL Rise didn't react. They started shooting him. They just... Jaeger just missed.
Well, you're like, feel like, what, he had 5 HP. A bullet was going to kill him.
Yeah, that's the big thing. Both on low HP. He has time to react, or time to make a play, and maybe even some mitigation for that. Overall, good clutch by Poison. Good work. Taking the lead. ARIAL Rise get to go to basement. The only site they've won so far was on the back of a 1v3. Not necessarily a change in philosophy. It's actually still basically, I believe, almost entirely the same operators, except DS Lucas rotates from an Oryx to a Thunderbird, so you can still go for exactly what you did previously, but they won't. Kento, DS Lucas, I believe, both downstairs inside a basement instead of the first floor. I can't quite tell. No, they're on the first floor, or at least DS Lucas is instead, or sorry, Kento is. DS Lucas staying downstairs to go for the impact trick, which you certainly can do. Exothermic and Selma charges if you can land those right. You can expend some utility by rotating from the first floor down to the site this round.
Yeah, last night Wimpy was able to stay alive for quite a while and get a flank off, though he was promptly dispatched after that, but he still was able to get that flank off and do damage to the attack. And last time they really tried to clear him. There was no real push on this top floor. members of 2FACED just went for horizontal take, tried to bypass, and there's a head right there. He sees Jackal pushing through. It's splashed. C4 goes out of onto the balcony, finds nobody, but through the wall, damage done. He gets finished off by kicks on the window, backing off, and that's what happens when you're in a solo roam, getting pinched out by many of the attackers on 2FACED.
It's very difficult for him to work, especially because of the holes made in the soft wall. He tried to rotate out into bedroom. He was still giving himself up to an angle from CCTV. There's always the window player to worry about. Difficult proposition for Wimpy. He tried to take the fight, go 1-for-1 after he expended his C4. Not much he can do, but this has given an opportunity for Kento to continue playing in bar, but Gomez to even rotate up and help support the vigil inside of bar, because sure, they cleared out Wimpy, but half the round has gone, and 2FACED are in a similarly problematic position as they were the first round, where in terms of the actual important things, opening up those hatches, getting vertical destruction on the first floor, looking down in the basement, not a lot of time to do it, and none of the job has been done yet. Splash has also used all of his Inox, so these pings will be the very last ones. Beyond that, they have to rely on their drones to find the intel on any player sitting inside the site based on and using what little time they have left.
It's taking a minute, so they got quite a few drones too. They got at least 5 drones. They have half their drones left, so they got time to figure things out. But slowly but surely, you know, ARIAL backed off. They're not really trying to go for those kills compared to, you know, the first round where they played this site. So they're all just waiting for what 2FACED is going to do here. Are they going to go for that dirt blue tick like they did last time? Looks like they're going to open up these hatches, though. So Poise is going to use one of those extra number charges. Actually, both so far, so use it elsewhere as well. I don't know who use the other one at. But Silent will use his on Church Wall, those Selmas, to open it up. Push a way through, but it looks like at least Kento playing behind the bar. They'll need to figure that out before pushing in. They don't want to walk into a sight line like that. And Kicks is pushing blue to make sure nobody can shoot them in that moto push later on. Gomez, nobody's playing blue for the moment. Gomez is trying to deny the blue push. He gets a great kill on the Kicks. Poison, though, has made his way into the church. Has it got killed Kento, killed the person who was trying to cover for it. For the moment, Silent elsewise covering for him, kills Beastly with 2 of his own, actually, denying the push, trying to deny the people flanking, trying to stop the plan from going down, leaving Gomez in 1v4.
Maybe not intel in his position, but certainly an idea. Gomez will land a very nice pre-fire on a player. He actually had intel on earlier in a second as well. Could catch the Jackal reloading. That's exactly what he'll do. 2 kills away from the ace. 2 kills away from evening up the score. 2-2 in a 1v5 clutch. Surely it's not going to happen. We've already had 3 clutches so far, and no, Poison shuts it down. That would have been a little too much for my heart today, I'm not going to lie. If we had another clutch, an ace at that, after another one from Poison, Mr. P thankfully shuts it down and gets his team an even bigger lead.
That was scary there. That was just one after another from Gomez. But again, like, it seems like 2FACED are doing a much better this time, dealing with the aggression, dealing with the roam from ARIAL Rise. They get that pick on Wimpy. They gain control they need. They take time to figure what their plan is out, what their plan is, and they slowly but surely have someone go blow blue. They have to open up that church wall. They have people watching main hall, and they deny any kind of aggression from ARIAL Rise thus forth. You saw them. You saw Silent dealing with anybody trying to rotate towards church. You saw the blue take as well, trying to take control of blue, which they did end up in the end. There was a good pick from the side of Gomez to start us off. He got that pick onto the Zofia of Kicks to stop it initially, but still, the fact that everyone was dead allowed that blue pick to happen anyway. And then it was just Gomez making his best attempt to ace and give the round to ARIAL Rise, which he almost did. Almost.
Very narrowly. Everyone from 2FACED just kind of sat there and took it. Then Poison did. He moved and gave it in response. CCTV now rotating back for ARIAL Rise. We got the Valkyrie Bandit combo, but neither really been too much of, or not really very impactful so far in this match. Wimpy, especially on CCTV, very quickly dealt with, and his presence on the main wall was barely even felt by the attack, by the defense, or overall in the round whatsoever. By the end, it was just the garage players left, normally what can sometimes be the most difficult to clear. Now, in effect, we're the big weak point for ARIAL, because once you're the only 2 players left, you're stuck in garage. There's not much you can do to influence the round unless they just push directly into you. Here, looking pretty similar so far. We see Kento is currently sitting there. Beastly will likely take up that position, but instead, DS Lucas on the Valkyrie won't be sitting prone below that garage window like we saw last time. He can get a little bit more crazy, move down red, move into garage if he wants, but most importantly, play off that intel, which could be the big strength for ARIAL Rise and the big adaptation for this defense.
Now, once again, that fireball flies off, allowing from the open as well easily. Wimpy can't ban a trick once again, but he's alive this time, though. He's not dead. That's the good point, really, when it comes to it, that he's able to stay alive. But once again, Two-Face have no issue with dealing with the ban trick. They've gotten these walls open time and time again. So I wonder if ARIAL will keep doing it. Kento playing aggressive towards the master bedroom side, towards Billiards, looking maybe to jump out on someone who's opening up the main door. Good intel coming out onto Kento, but Kento can't play off of it, unfortunately. Diaz is there at least to refrag. He gets that kill onto Silent in return, just trading out kills. And at least one of those heart breaches off the board, but still allows Poison to open up this wall into Garage.
Now, if they want to, they can put pressure on Beastly, playing in this position, both exothermics used, and the ace taken down means if they ever do want to, say, maybe rotate over to construction, if they wanted to later on, without those Selma charges, you don't have much of an option to do that. So you have to make do with what you've got, which is still quite a bit. They can put pressure on that Garage. Splash still likely has one firebolt left after dealing with Wimpy earlier to put pressure on Beastly. 2 nades for Eddie as well. Be looking to get aggressive, maybe retake the plat wall. If he does so, it'll make the Garage players feel a lot better, but he's unfortunately taken now. Before he can do anything, BC does exactly what you need to do. Try to make a play, put pressure directly on the attack, taking that position. But when there's players moving all around him and surrounding him, it's difficult to come away with more than one in that situation. You're a minute 10 seconds left. You have a player on plat wall, and it's a Garage push for 2FACED as they still have a minute to think things through. Poison yet to fully commit whether he wants to push in through the breach or send it up the stairs and join Splash playing inside of Garage. Either way is likely a viable one. It might be better to go for the breach or the Garage. Either way, ARIAL do still have some good utility to deny this plant. 3 toxic canisters and a C4 for DS Lucas. And 2FACED don't exactly have the manpower to control down below. DS Lucas could rotate if he wants, but instead he'll rip it, sit on top of the green box, and prep the C4 if anybody tries to push in. They will spot him, but again, there's not much ARIAL can really do, or 2FACED can do to counter this. First smoke goes out, denies Poison's entry. DS Lucas waiting, letting the smokes do the talking, but Poison creeps over beneath the CC window. Does DS Lucas have the sound cue? He's peeking over to the area. He throws over the C4. It lands in time. Nobody can cover it. Shoot it out the air. They don't have the angle. And with 15 seconds left, they have to adapt, pick up that diffuser. But Gomez and the Valkyrie catch him on the rotate off. Kicks in the 1v2, has to clean things up by going for the kills. One behind green box. The Tracers reveal the Valkyrie's position. It's the smoke that does him in the end. And ARIAL get their second round on the board. This one was still almost as daunting as their first.
Oh, that was very daunting. A 2v3 right there at the end there. But still, again, 2FACED doing well early. The ban trick not phasing them whatsoever. Able to get that wall open quickly. Wimpy dispatched early again. He was peeking, trying to get kills from that, trying to peek plat. It gets picked off doing that. Kento gets peeked off too. They had intel on the push from Silent into that main door. Still, Kento unfortunately cannot win that fight against him. He loses the fight to Silent. That was a refrag from DS, but still, it's just 2 kills in the favor of 2FACED early on, and that allows them to get that push in. They take control of Garage, though. Still, BC does his best. He gets a kill, goes for one, makes it rather than a 4v3, makes it a 3v2. They have control of Garage, they have control of Plat. Usually those are the 2 pieces you need, but after that, you need to bait out the utility. And from there, 2FACED kind of stalled there. They kind of sat for a second, trying to see if they can somehow stall this information, trying to bait out those smokes from the side of DS and I believe it was Gomez.
Yep.
Those last 2 players trying to bait the C4s, bait out the smokes. They couldn't do it. And Gomez was just ripping that C4 over and over again, just wasting more and more time. And in the end, the Poison makes its way through. The smoke cases come out on behind the server rack. Poison makes its way through. Goes for the plant in a place you wouldn't expect by the server window. But the big thing is, again, Valkyrie's on the board. There was a cam still alive in CCTV right above one of the racks, above the TV. Gives the info for him. Throws C4 perfectly onto the planter. Down he goes. And from there, you just play the intel, deny the second person from getting that plant down. And from there to 1v2, last person has to try and get 2 kills to end the round.
You're in the 3rd attempt of basement for ARIAL Arise. It's a much more major shift for their defensive setup. Before, it was just DS Lucas who switched. Now, he switched again, but so has pretty much everyone for ARIAL. Looked like there might be some more emphasis upstairs, but no, aside from Beastly playing in dirt, it's not even upstairs, it's just kind of off the site, if you want to call it that. Everyone is currently sitting down below. See also rotation from Splash onto the IQ, trying to spot any of those black eye cams. It'll be very good if there's a black eye placed inside of kitchen. Could lend itself very well to a C4, of which I believe there's actually the only one is Kento, because Wimpy has impact grenades. So instead, a heavy focus on denying that kitchen hatch based on the secondary utility held by the defense. But more importantly, because you have those bandit batteries placed downstairs, you don't have the as easy a possibility for Silent opening up those church walls if 2FACED go for the same execute they did last time. Sure, they're not contesting the early aggression from Aerial Arise, but since 2FACED have been so dominant in it, maybe the better idea is to just pull back and see what 2FACED first move is and then adapt to that.
Well, once Selma charge thrown out, was impact comes out, but they can try to bait out these impacts with the Selmas and then use an exothermic later on, depending on how they want to do it. But this, like you said, this kind of makes it difficult for them to go for that plate run if they go for church. And in the end, they can't open that wall. They use 2 impacts. They still have 2 more in the hands of Wimpy.
Only 1 exo too.
Yeah, and they only have 1 exo. So they use the other exo on dirt. So there's only 1 exo. They don't have any can openers. They don't have any utility. So this is going to be mainly a dirt and maybe a blue push. But see, the more impact comes out, can destroy his impact. No, it's a bit too late. It is too late, unfortunately. The timing was off. And now the push comes through dirt. 1 kill for Beasley. He tries to reload, unfortunately, in the face of Silent. He's not going to let him reload. So he has control of dirt. Pre-fires a 1 person inside by AK. And see if this push can make this dirt push even more of an entry into sight.
Silence always thrived in this position, using his utility, even if it's not successful, but expending it and then playing a sort of entry fragger, trying to find an opening inside of the site. I compared Exile to him earlier on a similar role on Club. It was Silent who defined it, at least in my mind, at this level, and he's doing it so well so far, but he's traded out by Gomez. His impact is 2 kills. Only for his team so far, but it still results in equilibrium for Ariel. Now maybe an uncovered planter, as the only one watching is Eddie on the main hatch. You do have Kicks denying on the main stairs as well, but neither can see the C4 landing directly at the planter's feet. The fuser dropped inside the site. It's Eddie who's likely has to make the move. Kicks no opportunity to maybe push in through Ashwell and recover it. It has to be the sledge if they want to go for the plant. Yes, Lucas's feet are spotted and his toes damaged, but beyond that, it's still Ariel who can firmly hold out, defend their positions, and force 2FACED to blink. Hicks crouching in, has not met any resistance yet. He's managed to find an opening, a weakness inside the lineup for Ariel to find an entry point into Church, and he forms around it. Now Kicks can cover. This is the opening he needed. The oversight that happened. He flicks another one similar to Poison earlier, but far more drastic and disappointing for Ariel, who let an easy round slip through their fingers.
Wow, that was a 2v2 and they denied the plant time and time again, but we start from the beginning from there. It was, unfortunately, it was like utility-wise, it was looking grim for 2FACED. They had lost, they've only opened up the kitchen hatch and they only opened up dirt. All the Selmas went towards baiting all those impacts. And from there, they go for a dirt push. Dirt push, unfortunately, enforced, Beasley gets the first pick. He kills Splash, he gets refragged. Silent then sits in dirt, gets another pick, evens it up to a 3v3. Then this trade comes out once again, makes it, there was 1 player goes down inside of Arsenal, but they kill the planter. 2v2 at that point. But the big thing here is 2v2, the planter, the diffuser's in sight. They have to somehow recover the diffuser. And somehow, some way, Kicks makes their way through the site. They somehow retrieve the diffuser as well, jumping down the hatch. And they make the way into Church, and they start planting the diffuser, which caused the last members on Aerial Rise to kind of freak out. They didn't know where the plan is going. They start rushing into Church to deny it, and Kicks is ready, covering both sides, gets both kills, ends the round right there.
Maybe easy round wasn't the apt way to describe that for Ariel, but definitely a winnable one, and one that likely probably should have gone their favor based on how things are progressing. But it's a 4-2 half. Got to play the rounds that are in front of you now, not dwell too much on the mistakes of the past. And you're going to basement, the site that, of course, you did just lose, unfortunately, but it's a setup you're going to be perfectly fine attacking. It's one you ran extensively on the defense, Ariel. 2FACED are doing something similar. They have a castle, which you opted to forego, and a Valkyrie, which you ran on different sites, but not specifically with an extended roam in this setup, and that lends itself very well. Intel denial for the attack, intel gain for the defense by bringing that Valkyrie. One that, based on the players for 2FACED who have the capacity to get aggressive and appear to be doing so far in this match, a combination that could be lethal on this roam.
Could be. This could be a lethal roam, and we'll see if Arrowwise can deal with the roams that they've set up themselves, like you said. So it's just, is the castle that much of a difference? They didn't really bring it on Arrowwise's defenses, but we'll see so far. They've opened up 1 hole. They've opened up, pushed into Billiards. They've opened up a cutoff. They jumped down that gym hatch, but it looks like the 2FACED members aren't really even pushing that far. They're pushing more towards that secret side if they're backing off. Eddie's still playing bit by a bar, maybe looking to get aggressive on somebody in by Billiards or by Strip. But nobody's there for a moment. BC opens up Jacuzzi. Splash will see that open up, or hear it open up in the back, and he'll back off. But Kicks has been cut off by Wimpy. So 1 good pick, and now Bathroom is opened up. So that's kind of an issue here for the Muzz. You have Splash, who's trying to get back to site.
Well, one big trend we saw in Map 1 was Aerial Arise dominating the entry game 9-2. first half of this map so far, it was 2FACED who won the opening duel every single round except the first and the last. This go around, sure, it might not be flawless, but ARIAL are certainly coming away in the first half of round number 7. The victors, they've taken out the Mozzie and the Mute. Both those C4s down. Poison hasn't even rotated back yet. There's still plenty of time to maybe catch him on a rotate back, catch somebody inside the site getting aggressive. But if you can't do either of those, you still have 1 minute and 15 seconds to set up for the rest of the take. There's a familiar problem. Eddie below the kitchen hatch using his impact grenades as Selmas are layered on top of that hatch. They're quickly burned. They are wasting impacts to allow for Beastly maybe to open it up with the exothermic, as DS Lucas only has 2 Selmas left, and that can only open up 1 hatch. Might be foregoing it, though. Not yet. There's still plenty of time. With 55 seconds left, and players seemingly rotating over to Moto and inside a bar, might be going for something, of course, over by main stairs, but more so with a focus on that Moto hatch as opposed to that kitchen hatch. Poison, the only one playing behind there right now, with support of Silent playing inside of blue. He finds an angle, but Gomez shuts him down on that very same spot. Poison will put one on the floor. Finish him off as well. There's still plenty of players who have angles on his very position. One can rotate down, help them out on the site. This Beastly opens it up. A hole will open directly in front of Poison that even then, Eddie might not be able to fully help. The decision to rotate out is likely a good one. He can still play this angle, but not put himself as on the forefront of danger as he was otherwise. 15 seconds remaining. Smoke grenades go out to deny the blue play and main hall as well. Kento capitalizes off of that right as the smoke clouds Poison from the doom awaiting him. And ARIAL Arise, they managed to come away with their first attacking round. Dominance in the early, a bit shaky in the middle, but a solid closer to get them round number 7.
100% right there. They opened up well. They get the pick. Whoopi gets the first pick on to kickstart us off. C4 in return, though. Traded out, but still they're able to take out kicks anyway. They make it even. They make it well in their favor when it comes to not well, but still a 4v3 going into the execute. But the thing is, again, like you talked about, impact tricking the kitchen hatch, there isn't a lot of utility. So rather than wasting more utility on the kitchen hatch, they full use the rest of the utility on Moto and that church wall. They open a Moto hatch with the excellent charge. They use 2 of those Selmas to open the bottom of that and try and force some of those defenders out playing near the wall. Then they use the last exclamation charge to open a full opening into sight. And even before that, they were getting picks on members of the defense. They were able to get picks on members inside of blue. You saw that first pump into Moto, get a first kill onto the person in blue. So let's take that person's blue place. Eddie takes that place in blue. And then the person inside of church has to back off in that 2v3. And from there, you're trying to take fights on the members walking in. They smoke it out. They push their way through. They start getting the plant down. And it's just that point, it's 2FACED that have to try to return into church and take those fights despite ARIAL Arise. They have full control at that point.
Whereas ARIAL Arise on their defenses, when they lost, they would try to make some adjustments to the strategy, but kept the same idea throughout. We'll see 2FACED make a radical departure immediately on their next attempt of basement. They still have the Valkyrie, but everyone else is, and based on the setup, is more inclined to play closer to the site. Kicks maybe could get aggressive on main stairs a little bit early on, and right now he's sitting inside a garage, so find a drone here. But with the Maestro, the Echo, the Smoke as well, by and large, members of 2FACED will be sitting more concentrated on the site and waiting for a push in from ARIAL. Might be good. ARIAL seemed pretty adept at clearing out the roam in the previous round. Might be good to just kind of play it a bit safer back. But it does mean that ARIAL, who were so good at acquiring the map control and playing off of the utility and what they had managed to open up, they get to do that a lot quicker, and they can find some good angles on you, depending on where you're playing, if they can open up those soft destruction and the hard destruction.
True. There's a lot of intel, though, this time around. They brought both Echo, Valkyrie, and Maestro, though. So not only you have the Maestro cams, you also have the cams on Valkyrie and the Yokais from Echo to give intel out. Eddie looking to maybe get aggressive main stairs, yes, and also a cam on these stairs if they do go for that main stairs push once again like last round. I saw also Yokai jumped on top of the beams inside of church, so there's a lot of intel to deny the push if they go for it later on into church. And that happens. But so far, yeah, open Moto hatch being opened up. Eddie's below the kitchen hatch once again to impact trick it to make sure they can't open the kitchen hatch or make it difficult and waste utility. And Splash is playing over by Dirt. Probably has a Yokai watching Dirt if they want to push for it. But looks like they're opening up Moto hatch. They've both extra make charges already. So maybe the play is going to be maybe from Moto have blue, or maybe just have don't open the church wall this time. Interested to see what they do this time for ARIAL Rise.
Well, that's what they tried to do last time, was use 2 Selma charges, I believe, on the bottom of the wall to open that up. It's what they're doing again this time, and one, I believe, might be, no, because they're placing it on the bottom. Because they're placing it on the bottom of the wall, it's a lot more difficult to impact trick for the Maestro. Gomez does get the first pick onto, well, that very same player who was going for the impact trick. Now Poison, who has placed a shield here instead, who can play more aggressively to contest this wall. I like that adaptation from the Smoke. using those toxic canisters as well, he can play and try and push the main wall attackers back. But he has used 2 toxic canisters very quickly. That last one goes, and we're still got like 45 seconds remaining. Ariel Arise could probably push in once they deal with the shield.
I definitely agree that he probably could push in. This blue take as well needs to come through as well from. They already got the first pick on a silence, so you already know there's 2 or at least 1 or 2 members pushing from blue side. They're pre-firing behind the generator to see if they can get a kill. Kento's waiting for a peek from that member in blue. BC has made his way through. He has no extra charges, but he has, you know, flashes in hand to try and flash out, get rid of ADS so they can destroy this shield. Last canister, or one of the last canisters, come out from him onto Moto to stop the push through. Wimpy takes heavy damage, but so far there's no real push. They haven't gained any real control here. Diaz with a great kill on the poison though. He'll stop the smoke from being alive. One less person inside a church, but Eddie's there to stop him pushing through Moto. He gets 1 kill. Elsewhere, blue doesn't go in the way of Aerial Rise at all. They both go down. Eddie's still playing his position. It's down to Diaz and Wimpy. They're both low on HP. 10 seconds left to go. Kicks is pre-firing into Moto to make sure they can't push through. Diaz can't get through this little angle he's made. He'll get the pick onto Eddie lying down. With 5 seconds left, he's got to rush his way into sight and get these kills on both Splash and Kicks. When he's got 5 HP, he's going to run by. Time runs out. And 2FACED will take the first defense.
That's sometimes the problem when you try to do main stairs blue pushes. If you're sort of stuck outside the main wall, as I'd say Poison probably stretched it out as long as he can before he needed to use that final toxic canister. What it did allow was most of the defense to rotate into their positions. They might have lost Silent early on, but they still have the Echo, who can contest any sort of long angle watching that church wall if he wants to maybe play inside of Armory. You still have the blue players who, while they're facing pressure from Gomez, for the attack to truly have a lot more freedom to flood the site and not just try taking gunfights and have a repeat of some rounds we've seen from 2FACED so far, like we saw on Kitchen on Villa, just crashing into the entire defense and hoping the fights go your way. In order for that not to happen, you need Gomez's blue push to work. You need him to try and get a pick or cause enough chaos. That go around, not only were the players on and inside of Church winning their fights, Gomez lost his fight inside of blue. The Jaeger was still there, takes down the Zofia, and the Zofia has minimal impact when it comes to the execute. Aerial Arise's big play that they were hoping for, the blue play to open things up, didn't manifest, and even then, it was already getting worse without that, with everyone losing their fights or 2FACED taking them and winning them. So good round from 2FACED, finally winning basement. They'll go to the more off-site to round things out on gym, but honestly, I feel like in terms of the 3 sites, the only real truly off one is like bar. Gym I'd say is pretty viable.
I would say it depends. These days, I feel like gym bedroom's more viable than freaking CCTV at this point.
Honestly, probably.
CCTV just sounds like pain at this point.
Just a nightmare at times.
It is a nightmare. And really, it's like the fact that you can roam on gym bedroom and actually play aggressive at times feels like it can be more helpful, though it is a double-edged sword in a sense, because, you know, being aggressive can also just ruin your entire defense. But we'll see. Hey, we see some aggression here from, you know, 2FACED. They're extending towards that CCTV. You see open holes in Cash. You see a shield not only on red, but also towards Cash, facing that CCTV wall. So 2FACED are doing exactly that. Going to play aggressive, try and stop the CCTV push whatsoever from Aerial Rise. Though, let's see if Aerial Rise, what they do. Are they going to face forward and try and deal with this roam, or are they going to try and maybe bypass and go straight for Jacuzzi? Hard to say. There's no real denial, though, from the side of 2FACED, so there's no problem opening these walls up.
Opening up the wall is perfectly fine, but the issue that Aerial Rise have is if they push in, it's going to be very difficult to find much ground beyond the initial breach. There's Splash and Kicks, a lot of which playing behind a shield, and the former has some cover behind these panels on the garage rafters. We have a crossfire set up on that breach if anybody pushes in. Same with 2 players to the side of there, and in fact, wisely, Aerial Rise will take a page out of 2FACED book, or at least go for a similar strategy. You open up that wall, deny anybody peeking the metal balcony window, the CC window, and instead rotate over to Jacuzzi. Make sure nobody can deny playing on that wall, which there's no bandit. Obviously, nobody can deny it. So they can open that wall up, no problem. And your 2 big facets and outside walls need to open. Flat wall and Jacuzzi wall open up with 1.5 minutes in the round still remaining. But this is where Aerial Rise need to start committing and hopefully working a pick and finding some opening. Not only does none present itself, 2FACED instead make their own.
Great shot on the Wimpy, playing the angle. Looks like they have information on the player inside the bathroom who can now try to impact trick through that hole. At least he's trying to stay alive on top of the little, you know, table inside the bathroom, though. There's famous intel, and you can't really shoot from there. So you try to shoot his feet, but that could prove to be dangerous for this push. Looks like Disc will catch that Selma, stop it from opening up the wall even further. He's going to impact trick it again, so there goes all the Selmas from them. Kento elsewhere entering for his team, but he'll go down, and Diaz can take his way into bathroom, killing him, but still is looking good for 2FACED. They're winning most of these fights. It's DS and Beast trying to make it up, and there's still a shield for Poison to play behind if they push into the gym.
C4 as well if he wants to send it over. But again, on Gym Bedroom, 2 defenders on low HP. Not nearly the same opening presented to Poison as it is presenting itself for Beastly and DS Lucas. You have more time, though, but a mist drone onto Eddie, though it does turn around and spot him, so they know there's a player inside of logistics. DS Lucas finds his moment, finds his opening. He's taking out the player at the forefront of Gym Bedroom, and now it's Eddie and Splash for a bit more further back, but have maybe some better angles to watch and maybe play behind. There's not anybody pushing in. It'll be very difficult for Beastly to get this bomb down. DS Lucas, or maybe even the Thermite as well, likely need to find a pick or do immensely well in the coverage, but unfortunately it falters. Beastly in the 1v2 gives himself up to Splash, not even well aware of the Jaeger's position, concerns himself with the Logi player. It's the construction player that does him in the end. That round, they got the CCTV wall open pretty early, but they didn't do much with it, and the defense was like, okay, we'll just play in con, play inside a bedroom, and we'll deny you and take you down once you push in through the breach.
Pretty much happened at that point, really. There's nothing more than that. It was just they opened Jacuzzi up. They didn't have much control other than that, and they just tried to deal with the bathroom player. And Kento elsewhere was getting kills, but he was picked off too. He made that entry as well for his team. But once they tried to make that push further in, they didn't get a kill on the person in the bathroom too late. They were losing fights, pushing through that Jacuzzi breach, pushing into sites. They didn't have other control either. They didn't push for logic. Like you said, they didn't push for cash. So they're just walking into sight lines that 2FACED were expecting. Though it was close still. It was still a 2v2 at the end there. But in the end, it was still a 2v2 that 2FACED had control of. They knew where they're going to plant. They had the control they need. And they're just waiting for a misstep from ARIAL Rise. And there it was. Now we go on to CCTV and cash for 2FACED to start off. Their match point, though, they only need one round. If they win this round out, they can go on to Chalet as their last map.
And it seems like it's, in all likelihood, going to happen. Of ARIAL Rise's 3 wins, two of them have been clutches. One was a 1v3, the other was a 2v3. The third round they won, their first attacking round, was their strongest round by a wide margin. They were actually in the driver's seat, and they definitely won that round, and it was not a throw by 2FACED. Since then, sure, it's been close, like we saw the last round, but it still always felt like the odds were leaning towards 2FACED, just based on either the inaction by ARIAL Rise, the setup from the defense. Whatever it was, something is not clicking for ARIAL, not only on this map, but now specifically for their attacking sides in the past couple rounds. You mentioned how CCTV and Cash has certainly become a little bit more difficult to defend as time has gone on. It's the same can be said for Basement as well. Here, getting the plat wall open might not be as problematic. Eddie sends out a C4, but thankfully for ARIAL Rise, it's wasted. They don't have to worry about it too much. But also thankfully for them, with that Thatcher unbanned and Splash trying to bandit trick that main wall. They want to use the EMP grenades to deny it? They can't. They want to send somebody to the CCTV window? They can. They want to have somebody throw a nade up through the garage door? They can as well. A lot of options to do that. Will it work, though? Here's it will.
Oh, the grenade. Yeah, Splash will get away at least. But yeah, all of that worked out pretty well. They wasted concussions, used EMPs, used a grenade, and they got him out of his position. And now that with the plat wall open, what is the next step for ARIAL Rise? Will they going for garage? Will they going for maybe going for con instead? They still have an exothermic charge in hand. They still have the Selmos from DS, so they should have a problem, going for garage if they want to open up those garage walls. Maybe even open that single panel as well towards garage to get a better angle on the garage player of kicks. A lot of angles and a lot of different options here for ARIAL Rise. And so far, I always wondered, did they need that much utility to deal with Splash, though?
To deal with Splash on the main wall, they used quite a lot. And honestly, if you want to get the main wall open, maybe it's a perfectly fine amount, but with nobody on that CCTV window to try and catch him on the rotate, used it, and he got away pretty much scot-free after wasting a minute. Now you have to turn your attention to Rafters, where there is so much they have to deal with. No nades for ARIAL, because, again, they spent them trying to take down the Bandit. Kicks even peeks up. There's nobody there playing... Well, there's somebody there playing Wimpy's Trade, but unfortunately, they were on a drone. They could not watch. DS Lucas now rotating in, trying to work in tandem with the other two players in garage. Spots his head, but oh no, he can't land the shots. Can he finally do it? It's a little bit awkward, a little bit difficult, but is a 4v4 in the end. He will avenge Wimpy and get the trade. The issue here right now is, what can they really do beyond that? Splash still has a C4. He can play either on red or rotate into CCTV to throw it over the server stack. There's, in all likelihood, not going to be anybody playing below. With the C4, I should add, Eddie could play down there if he wanted. Would it be much use? But with Poison's 30 seconds of denial, all 3 of his toxic canisters still on board, Aerial Arise have to push through an onslaught of utility in order to find some kind of opening in this round, and going for the frags really isn't that much of an option unless they can make some kind of miracle play up red work and navigate and move past all of that utility. One player is moving up red. Kento moving inside of the side, but he doesn't read silent on the table. Shuts him down. 2v3. Make that a 7-3 for 2FACED on their opponent's map pick. Even more dominant than the one Ariel took theirs at. We're going to map number 3, Chalet. See who is going to playoffs and who still has to wait one more week to see if they're eliminated or if they can join them too.
Apparently, each team just picked their team's, good map, apparently, because 7-4 on Villa, 7-3 for 2FACED on Clubhouse. Quite a turn of events here.
Certainly in that game, not exactly the performance we wanted to see from Arial, both on their map pick, but also in map number 2 of the series. Because, especially on their defenses, it was not the best. But also, to be fair, 2FACED also did a very good job at countering the sort of aggressive play that Aerial Arise were going for. They always seem to try to find an impact, but especially I feel like in the final round on Basement really showed how much 2FACED came into their form during that match. Whippy just was alone upstairs. Previously, he didn't really get many kills, but he was allowed to survive. He was never cleared out. Come the third time that Aerial Arise defended Basement, he was just shut down immediately. Could barely even do anything, trapped inside a construction. He was stuck and done for. And then Aerial Arise, once 2FACED again, they got the entry 4 out of the 6 rounds on their attacks. Stark contrast to Villa. They got those openings very well, and Ariel struggled to fight back after that. Moving to Chalet, I would say maybe you want to run up the rounds on defense, but for a decider, being very high technique and high quality in those attacks will be the name of the game, and maybe who can perform those attacks just better than the other.
Yeah, I definitely agree. The fact that we saw 2FACED on Clubhouse winning most of those, getting those opening picks most of the time. And then on Villa, it was the other way around. It was Aerial Arise getting those opening picks. Is that what's been the name of the game here on Chalet at this point? Is who can get those opening picks, who can start the round well, especially on Chalet, where if you can snowball attacks really quickly if you get those opening picks. If you open up, you get those kills, take that control quickly. That's a very easy way, not easy, but quick way to take control of rounds.
Well, with each team getting a win on their opponent's map pick, we're going into map number 3, looking a little bit uneven. But before we go, do have another quick, I suppose, discussion by one of our other sponsors. And by one of our other sponsors, I mean our other sponsor, Mavix Gaming Chairs. You always say, hey, Wimpy dropped 14 kills. How did he do it? Hey, Spirits just smoked Xset in relegations. How did he do that? It's probably the gaming chair. That's probably why they're so good. And if you want some of the best in terms of gaming chairs, Mavix Gaming will certainly give you that option. Because, Benny, as we've talked about constantly, not only are they built for comfort, built for gamers, they also have things like AC in their chairs. So if you're sweating, if you're really getting in the zone, maybe, you haven't showered that day. It happens to the best of us. Happens. Go on an all-night World of Warcraft grind. You got to make it happen. You got to get AC to cool you down. If you're playing a very tense match, the playoffs are on the line like this, Mavix Gaming Chairs can always supply that. So go to mavix.com/NerdStreetGamers. Use code NSG55. You get $55 off your order for any Mavix gaming chair. And while you do that and you go to their website, we're going to take a short 5 or so minute break before we get into map number 3 of Chalet.
Hello, my name is Eddie, and I'm a player for 2FACED. The biggest flaw we had in CL last stage is that we relied on just pub stacking. Now with Poison on the team, we're gonna really rely more on strats and structure. He's gonna help us a lot with that. I think it's really important to have competitions in the off season. It's good practice, especially we have 2 new pickups. It's gonna be good. So it's high quals just next weekend, or this weekend actually, and for the next CO stage and season, hopefully we do good. I think we're gonna destroy the amateur teams. The ones I'm friends with, they don't realize that their playstyle isn't gonna work against CL teams. They think they're gonna take it all the way, but that's not how it works against CL teams. There's a good way for Pro League players to scout new T3 talent and stop recycling the old Pro League players that keep coming in and out. The team I would want to destroy would be Mystic. A certain player on their team thinks they're going to win it all, but I just can't wait to play them if they make playoffs since we're in different groups. Just destroy them. I think the easiest team to beat is Achieve. I don't think they're that good. Don't think they're even gonna get a win unless the other group or the other team in our group is like worse than them. The best ice cream flavor is chocolate. Definitely chocolate. My major is pre-law in college. It's not a good major. Don't major in it. My favorite movie is The Hunger Games. The whole Hunger Games series is a really good series. Recommend watching it if you haven't watched it yet.
Welcome to the NerdStreet Winter Championships, featuring SCS6, a yearly open tournament series hosting the best players and teams North America has to offer, culminating in a community favorite, the Pro-Am. So let's discuss format. During the Winter Champs season, SCS6 will consist of 2 stages, where each stage begins with 2 open qualifiers. Once Stage 1 is complete, there will be an additional tournament offering 1 more qualification spot prior to Stage 2. Through participating in SCS6, players will acquire leaderboard points and cash prizing. The winning teams from Stage 1 and 2, as well as the additional tournament, will qualify for the Pro-Am. The top 2 teams from the leaderboard will also qualify. As we approach the end of the season, the final qualification spot will be determined through a last chance qualifier. The Grand Finals of the Winter Champs SCS6 will feature the return of the Pro-Am, where the top amateur teams have an opportunity to define their talent against the North American Pro League. But in the end, only one team will be crowned Winter Champs. Sign up today and make history.
V3, make that a 1v2.
2 seconds left. It's gonna come down.
We're making a third as he looks up. Make it up. He finds the drop. 3. Stunning here from.
It'll take Chalet to decide whether or not it's ARIAL who make it into playoffs or it's 2FACED in week number 2 of SCS Season 6. Again, I'm Lynx, joined by Benny Au. And well, I don't think either of us particularly expected, especially after map number 1, 2FACED to appear so strong on Clubhouse, their opponent's map pick. But here we are. And Chalet as well, Benny. 2FACED got a 7-1 on this map last week. Is it looking rough for ARIAL?
Yeah, we're worried about their attacks on Villa, but then they show us on Clubhouse. They have it down on Clubhouse on their attacks and their defenses. Now we're going to a map where attacks could be even considered easier on Chalet in a sense. So maybe, and like you said, last week they performed well. Sure, it wasn't against a CL team per se, but they showed they have their Chalet down. So this could be a scary prospect for Arrow Rise, though. You said Arrow Rise themselves also do well on Chalet, so maybe we'll be a close match finally, not a dominating side for both of the sides.
It'll be nice. 7-4, 7-3 so far. Maybe nice little overtime game to cleanse our palates, not only before Series 2, but give us something to talk about based on whichever team ends up making it into playoffs so far. Well, definitely been a bit more hard fought for 2FACED compared to last week. It was a 7-2, 7-1 in their first match, but for ARIAL, just as close. 8-6, 7-5 in their first series in this go-around. 2FACED aren't making it easy for them by any stretch of the imagination. Just to take a look at the stats real quick and see Gomez and Diaz Lucas, the Brazilian duo, they were on point. Everyone else left a lot to be desired, especially Wimpy.
Yeah.
I mentioned his performance on Bandit on Club. Stark contrast to the last time we saw him on that map in that role.
Yeah, he wasn't able to ban trick anything. They pulled out the stops. They pulled out what you expect. Having both, having a Capital, having someone below me with a grenade or some concussion ready for it, and they really needed it. I just needed a Capital to stop him, and then to shoot him in the legs as he tried to rotate away.
This go around on Chalet, that we'll see any sort of maybe Capital play, not an operator we see all too often, but what we will see, in all likelihood, Ariel Arise starting on the attack. Hopefully we'll see them run up the scoreboard early on, or hopefully if you're rooting for them to make it into playoffs, or if you're rooting for 2FACED, you're hoping Ariel's attacks looked about as good as we just saw them on Clubhouse. That's what you're hoping for. You can see what ends up happening starting out. 2FACED, I imagine, maybe we'll open things up with a Thatcher ban, perhaps a hard breacher at that, but they also know they did ban Flores last week against In Control. Perhaps they'll do the same here.
Yeah, they banned it earlier too, so they're banning it again once again. They banned it on Villa, they banned it here to get rid of it. Arrow Rise, will they ban a Thatcher? Will they ban a hard breacher like Thermite or Ace or Habana? Or maybe it'll be something different. Maybe it'll be something crazy like I don't know. No, not Thatcher.
I mean, that's pretty wild.
That's so wild. That's crazy, man. They're gonna ban Valkyrie next, and my mind's being blown.
Can you imagine a Valk ban to follow things up? We also saw, I believe it was it Ariel that banned Womai earlier? I cannot remember.
Yeah.
Was it? Okay,
Yep.
it was.
I think it was, yeah.
There we go. I was about to say, if we're talking about bans that we saw on Villa as well, it's Ariel who did ban out Womai, but this go around, maybe 2FACED, they'll take a little bit of departure from what they banned earlier. They banned, I believe it might have been the Cade.
Oh,
Here we go. No, I believe it's actually, looking back at my notes, actually, I think it was Ariel who banned the Cade. But we are seeing actually a lot of repeat bans from map number 1, but also some repeats, at least from 2FACED, from their game last week. It's In Control. So if Ariel have done their homework, they'll certainly have an idea for what 2FACED could employ going into this match, at least based on how this ban phase went out.
That's a different ban phase than usual. We don't see these bans very often, but we'll see a Kite off the board and a Womai, leaving both the Mirror and the Valkyrie available. Valkyrie last map, did have some use. We saw some rounds where Valkyrie definitely made a difference, but I would say they didn't play quite as aggressive off the Valkyrie as we expected. Maybe it's because of Clubhouse. It's quite, it's very difficult maybe to get that aggressive on this map. But Chalet could be a different story having the Valkyrie around. We'll see how 2FACED do it on their defense first as we go to that. Looks like it was that. Looks like, yeah, games in bar as per usual.
Yep. Valkyrie on this side will certainly do well if you're playing inside of Fireplace. Having maybe some intel inside of Library will help influence your decision-making a lot better. Same goes for Library Stairs as well. Or if you want to get aggressive, maybe play a little bit early inside of Office before Ariel end up pushing things super aggressively. Try to play there. Plus, you also get an idea. If they are going for a solo take and you want to meet it head-on, you can anticipate that. And if they're playing Library and you have some intel over by Master Bedroom and Office, make sure it's clear. A lot of options for how you can use Valkyrie on this site, but a lot of it revolving around adapting to what kind of take the attack is going for, and whether you should anticipate one coming from the northern side or anticipate one right on your very own doorstep or the ceiling of the site, if you want to be specific with our language.
Well, this will be to see how Arrowwise does this, but again, we see this game's bar defense quite often, having a shield on the top of Library Stairs, having the shield of White Pillar and Fireplace, and that is the kind of stopping you have. That's the kind of thing you have to start with. But Silent taking heavy damage to start us off. He'll take a lot of damage from the Library window question mark, or if maybe from far off on the Fireplace window, the double window. Hard to say, but that's kind of thing you have to deal with these shields kind of in tandem or one at a time. The floor isn't available. That's usually an easy way to deal with these shields on this map, is just having a floor as a Rotera drone. Just drive on by and destroy it, depending on how you want to do it. But we'll see how they do it this time without those Rotera drones.
They haven't needed to do much just yet. You see two players actually prepping, sitting outside this double window. You see, almost said Selena Gomez again. You see Gomez sitting outside this window, and they'll just send it on in. The moment Kento gets that kill onto Silent, the Fireplace player, they flashed, and Splash has no idea. Splash actually is not aware whatsoever that the player's getting the bomb down inside of games. The Flash has covered the sound cue right as they moved in. Brilliant play by Ariel Arise, and now Kix and Eddie are left to somehow stagger together, pick up this info, and fail to recover. A very well executed blitz play. Not Blitz the operator, blitz in execution by Ariel Arise.
Yeah, Splash was really, really just unaware of what was happening.
He just didn't know. He just simply did not know.
He just was looking around. He thought it was inside a bar, looking left and right. But that started off again, like you said, with that grenade kill. You start off with that grenade kill, opens up a pick, and they could tell there was a lot of just, you see on the game's bar site, there's a lot of focus on the top floor. There's a lot of focus elsewhere on the map. There isn't as much focus on, that site itself on bar. But that person inside of stock is usually that person to, alert the rest of the team to come back to site if they are rushing. And that, unfortunately, Splash seems to be unaware that they had just jumped in the big window and had control of maybe not control, but they were in games, getting the plant down, getting the diffuser on the floor. He seemed to think that they were in bar, and that kind of led 2FACED to be, scrambling around trying to find picks. He finally gets taken out, and that's allows them, the rest of 2FACED members come back to site, trying to take fights on ARIAL, who were already at that point entrenched on site. So, well, great job to ARIAL. Start themselves off on a good footing. We go on to dining and kitchen next. So 2FACED, they're not going to retry that game's bar site. They're going to try for a whole entire different site.
And it might not be, say, as easy to go for a more rush style play as we saw in bar. It might be a little bit easier to attack overall. Really here, especially if you're going you're attacking from fireplace side, you have to open at that top floor, put a little bit of pressure on it, push them back over towards, say, bedroom and bathroom, clear them out of piano and office. But beyond that, and then opening up the main fireplace wall, there's not a lot you have to do as the attack at that point. Of course, in a 5v5, the defense could still win it, especially with an Echo on the board using those yokais. If you haven't done good work to take those down, it could be problematic, but all they have besides those are the smoke canisters, no C4s. There's not a lot that ARIAL really have to do to open this up and push them back, and once they do that, not a lot of utility, and specifically C4s, to worry about once they push into the site and maybe, say, try to get a plant behind that table. Don't know what they're doing yet. I'm doing a lot of conjecture right now, but based on how they're attacking this, DS Lucas on the bedroom window, Gomez contending with the Aruni behind the black wall shield in the first 30 seconds, looking like they're going for something like what I said.
Well, having somebody on the tower, looks like DS was on the tower, but he's going to go actually repel on the window now to cut off those roamers, try and make them sure they can push them back. And like you said, if they can push these defenders back, make sure even to get a kill if they can, and then have that full control. But DS will down Eddie. Eddie goes to the jump out trophy to stop that control of the big window, stop them from trying to cut off these defenders. He'll get taken down in that engagement, and now Kicks, he's being pressured. He does at least have one more, castle barricade to his back so he can get shot from that big window. But he's being cut off by the bathroom window, and they're pushing onwards into piano into that office side. And once they've have control and they stop that office push, if they can open up that wall to the site, go for the plant like you said, the only thing they have to wait for is those smoke canisters and the yokais like you were talking about. Smoke, Poison has a great angle here. DS has a kill as well. The silent splash returns on Wimpy, but Poison as well. Poison's gonna kill the DS in return, a refrag for his team. And so far it's been a bloody roam clear for ARIAL.
The blood might not be done flowing just yet. Kick's still upstairs. Yeah, walks directly into Gomez. Blood is shed, but maybe not as much as he's quickly dealt with. Gomez picks up a second as well. Splash trying to retake the position and help Kicks before he's unceremoniously taken down alongside the Aruni. Poison in the 1v3. Actually spots Kento, but it's the ARIAL player to react first. 2 rounds in a row for the attack so far. That one looked like a little bit more difficult to take, but still not breaking too much of a sweat if you're ARIAL.
Yeah, ARIAL, they started us off well. Diaz getting the first pick, and Eddie who tried to jump out and deny the big window, and they do it. And they start pushing into sight. They start pushing in top floor to take out those defenders. It wasn't a dominating round for ARIAL. They were getting trading kills left and right. People on 2FACED were fighting back, trying to keep it even. But as they take that control, they're able to just find that control, find the people who return back to site, cut off those rotates, leave one member in a 1v3. And there's not a lot you can do there, unfortunately, after those 2 members go down on a clean return from ARIAL on that, end of the round, mid to end round there. So 2 rounds from ARIAL. First one was dominating. Second, not as much, but still a great round from ARIAL. 2FACED got to show us something on these defenses. They got to at least get 1 or 2. You don't expect to get a lot on this, on this map, because Chalet is usually attacker sided, usually. But you expect at least 1 or 2 from 2FACED.
Going back to bar, this is a perfect time to get first round on the board. Not only is it one of the better sites so far in T2, T3 North America, maybe even T1 as well. I'm more so familiar with, the T2, T3 stats because, it's my job. But going here, bar, not only one of the better sites, one you've already tried, and one that you lost in a way that maybe you should be able to expect. I'm sure even though Splash didn't see it, his team was probably able to pick up the pieces as to what likely happened in that previous round. They have the mirror window. Not only can they place focus up top, but if they want to place a mirror window down inside a bar as well, they have an option to more actively watch that plant spot where Beastly put down the bomb previously behind that half wall. So already some adaptations made to account for a similar play or even a similar plant spot, even if it happens with 30 seconds left for ARIAL Arise. It's exactly what you want to see, and now we're likely going to see something more traditional coming out from both these teams, but specifically ARIAL.
Well, last time the big thing that started us off was the grenade kill. So I wonder if they can still get that grenade kill onto Silent, get rid of one of those people upstairs, holding off that, you know, having that roam upstairs, having those shields, if they can deal with it early. But yeah, it looks like they are going for a more traditional one. I say that, but actually they're still looking outside of library. Nobody's really going towards solar side. They are on that balcony by office, but there still seems to be that focus on this just straight to site. They're not going for any real roam clear per se for the moment. Grenade once again comes out, but Silent actually survives this time. His shield is still there as well, and he has the mirror in place too to help him stay alive in this position. And now as they're just droning it out, another grenade comes out for Silent. Silent's ready to maybe even kill the kill, but he's been actually flashed at the same time. Down goes the shield, and he's flashed, still flashed, gets the kill onto Kento, evades that grenade, still alive in position. Great job from Silent, just waste utility and time and get a kill.
That was really beautiful from him. He even continues aggressing, manages to catch Wimpy off guard as a C4 exploded at the Sledge's feet. Perfect time for the alibi in all of the fire and the chaos to push on in, get a second kill for 2FACED so far. Not even half the round has gone, but almost half the men for the attacking team has completely fallen. But Eddie, if he gets a bit over-aggressive, but in the end, it's still a 1-for-1 overall in separate parts of the map, as Silent has not even remotely been cleared out of library. Hicks finally picks up one and takes a little bit of the load off of Silent, but as the final kill comes through is a solid, dominant round from 2FACED, but specifically Silent, who despite all of the utility expended on him, leave 3 nades total. Sure, he lost health, but he never lost spirit, and he never stopped fighting.
I still say, yeah, Silent was literally the round right there. Despite being flashed, grenade coming his way, destroying his shield, he still plays by the mirror, denies Kento from pushing from that office balcony, then gets the kill on the person, I think it was Wimpy, pushing into library, and then picks another one off on top of that. Inside the library, he played that position to great effect compared to that first round, and he was the anchor on that roam that ARIAL were trying to clear. So when it comes to doing that, normal strat ARIAL were stopped in place by Silent himself. And we go on next to a site. Looks like we're going to back to that kitchen site. This time there is a pulse on the board though, so maybe they're gonna let them see if they can somehow get more kills rather than having an even 3v3 when it comes to that control that they had last time. Maybe looking to C4 and stop them from taking that control early on.
And with the pulse as well, you can gain some intel as to where exactly they're pushing, whether they're playing a little bit aggressive, whether they're trying to focus more on piano or office. And also, if Eddie wants to go for a similar run out on that bedroom window, you can influence that a little bit more as well. Because also, Duke, I will say one thing to note, while there was a castle barricade there, DS actually rotated off that big window about at the halfway point in the round, so the person playing in bedroom didn't have a lot of freedom because of Wimpy's position on office balcony. A little bit more without that powerful position to worry about. With the pulse, you can have that active intel. Say, hey, they're not on bedroom window. You can try and make a play, push up into bedroom if you want. So I like the rotation not only for the secondary utility, but the primary as well. It will likely do a lot to help 2FACED, who are going for the same defensive strategy. But ARIAL, on the opposite side, going for a different take.
Looks like, yeah, they're actually going for a solar take, and I know how much you love solar takes. Lynx.
Yes, I do. And they are better, in my opinion.
Lynx apparently thinks that solar takes are the way to go for this site and for the top floor site of Master in Office.
I won't make like solid claims like that on broadcast usually, but that is one I will, because I do genuinely think that solar takes are generally better.
Well, it does give you away if you can gain control of those windows and use that bedroom window as well. You can cut off a lot of roamers and push them back. DS downstairs, maybe looking to try and stop someone from rotating towards that that trench door to try and run up on somebody, but someone actually below looks like they've made holes trying to stop it. It's the pulse trying to get shots there. C4 comes up, won't do any damage. Sound's gonna pull off for the moment, not to get shot down as his position's been noticed by the person on rappel. Poison maybe looking to jump out, but he's aware, and somebody is on. Is somebody actually on the stairs already? Yeah, they're already on the stairs on Trophy. So that's again, that solar take is huge because you can take control of Trophy stairs so quickly and really cut off the rotates from the defenders coming back to site. They have to return the site back the long way, really.
I mentioned the benefits of a library take earlier at how you just had to open up those walls, push the defense back, and you were pretty much chilling after that. It's a similar methodology for solar takes as well, just a little bit different execution. Problem is, so far, the only gunfight taken was Wimpy, who was moving down those trophy stairs, loses it to Silent all the way on a long angle from that pole. So now ARIAL getting a little bit in the weeds on that top floor. They are heavily pushing in, trying to fully clear out that roam. But most of the defense, I believe, I might have already rotated down. DS Lucas down below. We'll get the first pick for ARIAL in the round so far. But yeah, aside from one player, everyone else from 2FACED has rotated back down to the site, and ARIAL, with only a minute left, have to struggle to really not necessarily gain the control, but put themselves in positions to execute onto the site, especially since members of 2FACED down below are still pretty firmly entrenched in their positions. DS has managed to pick up the 2 kills he's gotten. The only 2 kills for the attack have all been because of defenders rotating downstairs into his crosshairs. Now they'll rotate back upstairs to a much better position. They know that ARIAL have to execute from the trophy side, either into kitchen or if they want to into dining, but likely into kitchen. That's the closer site. They can play this angles on the left and the right side. The left one taking a little bit of damage, but still the crossfire intact. And it'll be difficult to push in either from West Main or into dining as long as those players, combined with Eddie on the hatch, are still in their positions. They finally start to flood. Silent cannot react in time because of the low health. The Pulse taken down as well, but Eddie, he has to wait. He can play this position. He might catch one off guard, but oh no, he un-ADS's. Can't catch DS as he rotates in. Unfortunate timing for the Jaeger. The diffuser wasn't even in his line of sight as well. ARIAL pick up their 3rd attacking round.
Again, a bloody round from ARIAL Rise when it comes to taking that top floor, but a different take this time. Going for Solar, taking that control of Trophy and, not really Trophy, but at least Trophy stairs, and for Solar, making that cutoff, making it difficult for 2FACED to return to site. But even though they had that control, when it came to taking fights, 2FACED was still winning some of those fights in return, making it still a competitive round there. They were still dealing with Wimpy, getting killed off the rip on Trophy stairs, getting a kill elsewhere upstairs when they tried to push from that Solar side towards bathroom. And so far, but the big thing in the end was the fact that because of these fights, because they were still pushing upstairs, they pushed those defenders back towards library, towards fireplace. There's nobody on site at that point. Allowed ARIAL Rise to then come through Trophy onto site, and at that point, the members on site were only 1 or 2 people. There's one on short in the jungle, and there's one on site. That person goes down. Jungle goes down too. The only person left is Eddie on the hatch, who went upstairs, who was in a position to help his team out. So unfortunately, at that point, they had control site. They get the plant down, or they just kill Eddie. At that point, was all they did really. So good try. Still a close round from 1FACED, but unfortunately, they could not pull it back due to the control from ARIAL Rise.
Did you say 1FACED?
I thought I said 2FACED. Did I say 1FACED?
I said 1.
Maybe they're 1FACED that round. I don't know.
I was sitting listening to you and looking at the setup, and then I hear 1FACED, and I was like, hold on, what? Gotta clown on him real quick. Cannot let that go unpunished. I did not.
I can't remember I said them now. I think, what did I say actually again?
Pretty sure you said 1FACED. Check the bot.
Roll
the
the
tape.
VOD.
Right now, as you can see, it's basement. What usually happens on basement? There is a roam. Because really, the only way you can defend this site is to roam. Not necessarily. You can win the site by anchoring. Just kind of hard to do that. And with the roam right now, Poison actually is the only one on the site. I thought there'd be like a little bit more people there. You don't have to go that hard. And if ARIAL actually read into that, they could very well flood pretty easily. Doesn't matter nearly as much at the moment. They're doing very well on the roam. And right as I thought Wimpy was actually about to get 2-pieced there and smoked by Splash, he's able to trade out Kento. They lose the Finka and that set of nades, but not only do they still have 3 total, Wimpy having his full set. Sure, he's a little worse for wear, but they take out the main players on this roam in library. Still a Jaeger on the close corner, though, and unfortunately, I believe they had intel in his position, but it was unnoticed by Wimpy, or if that was not him, it might have been 2FACED getting the intel. Sometimes a bit odd with the Z-pinging system. But either way, here's the nice thing right now. There are 2 roamers. Poison is literally the only one on the site. They can make this play, flood the site. If they can take down the mute, they can win this round, but unfortunately, only one taken down before Poison or after Poison gets a kill. You see the only one left. Planting below the hatch as well. If anybody from 2FACED rotates into bar, they can easily take him down, but instead it's Blue and Connector is where the 2 remaining defenders are. He'll try to throw a smoke, but unfortunately the ADS catches his smoke canister right as a Goyo shield explodes in his face. Silent on the rotate back through Blue picks up the final kill. And it seemed like a promising entry for ARIAL despite the loss of Kento. It came away 4-3, but there were just so many roamers stacked up outside of library that ARIAL might not have just accounted for all of them.
Yeah, it seemed like it might have been maybe a miscount from the side of ARIAL Rise. They had, 2 people downstairs, 3 go for the roam clear, and they didn't think that there were actually 4 people roaming, not just, 3 or 2. And they went toe for toe with the roamers, and unfortunately, the roamers on 2FACED came out on top, leaving just the person outside, or 2 people outside, to go for that push into sight. And from there, you saw what happened. They try to push Poison on site because he's by himself. There, Poison gets 1. He goes for 1, doesn't get traded out, but that just leaves last player in Beastly in a... Actually, was it Beastly? I don't remember who it was actually. In a 1v2. He's got a plant inside of wine, not sure where these defenders are. One's playing connector, one's playing blue. He's looking left and right, trying to find someone from 2FACED to make a mistake, but they're playing well. They're slowing it down. They're waiting for him to go for the plant, and they just kill him in the end. So great job from 2FACED. They'll take 2 rounds in the defense, which you expect to be the minimum. Maybe they can go for 3 and make it a 3-3 half, which would be great.
Especially after how well their attacks looked on Clubhouse, on Chalet, that might be something very special to look at if they're able to win this round. Of course, if they don't, they still could very well look special. Just because you do bad on your defense doesn't mean you'll do poorly on your attack. But a 3-3 would be very good for them if they're able to keep up the same momentum on attack that they did on Clubhouse going forward. For this round as well, they made an adaptation on their previous bar defense that worked very well for them, albeit mainly on the back of Silent, who was able to hold out on top of Fireplace and inside of Library despite bearing through, I don't know, 3 grenades, multiple flashbangs, 3 people all peeking him as well. Though those were more so 3 1v1 engagements that happened subsequently one after another. Maybe there's a bit more coordination. If the utility fails, more coordination in actually trying to pinch him out, maybe that'll go their way. Ariel or Rise are going for the same take, so hopefully if they want a 4-2 half, this is the most up to form of those.
Oh, he's peeking through these little display cases, trying to find a cheeky angle to somebody peeking that library double window, but nobody's doing it for the moment. He's shooting out drones. Kento last time was the first casualty, trying to throw grenades onto his position, but so far looks like he's in the same. Kento's in the same position too. D is peeking through. He sees a mirror there though. It's kind of unwarranted to peek, but again, the X-Kyle is coming through to destroy that mirror. Silent pushes up instead towards the display case. The guy trying to get that cheeky pink angle once again. Maybe they're unaware of position, but the drones are there. Wimpy takes heavy damage, so does Silent. So now Silent's position is kind of vulnerable. Kicks though elsewhere, takes out Gomez, who on the Yana was trying maybe entry. Kento at this point, Kenny trying to clean up the mess that is Silent sitting by there. And yes, he can. Actually, it was Wimpy with the grenade to clean up Silent, destroy that one member. Eddie's now by himself upstairs.
You mentioned how this seemed to be a turning point for Ariel, that quickly the flood came through after Silent was taken down. They're waiting for a similar situation, but Poison, we saw him have a similar type of angle this time previously on Kitchen. Now it's a similar situation. A shotgun hole made watching one of the jump-ins into Library, seeing if either Wimpy, maybe Kento, or no, just specifically Wimpy pushes in, and unfortunately he sees him. It's DS Lucas that I meant. Wimpy downed as well. Both the players inside of Library removed off the board, and only Kento and Beastly, the 2 players who, coincidentally, in that first round were the ones to jump in, they're now the only ones left. Kento's upstairs, not downstairs, with the IGL for Ariel Arise. He's managing to get 1 kill, and one of the players separated all the way. No, not actually separated inside of Dining. I thought that was him, but no. So right now, it could be an effective 2v2 on the site. Kicks playing inside of Dining, though, is a dangerous position. He can hold any of those angles in Fireplace, move onto the site if anybody tries to push through. Kento being on low HP also makes this very problematic, as it makes the attackers separated, and Kento can't do much without maybe faring 1 or 2 bullets worth of damage before it happens. Beastly manages to win the fight with Poison, gets a second as well before he's traded out, but Kento's only on 1 HP. With 30 seconds left, I don't know entirely what intel they have. If they have a flank drone potentially watching Kicks to catch him as he rotates back to the site. But with 30 seconds, he could very well get this bomb down without much time for Kicks to rotate over into the site. It's going to be close. Kento has to have his gun up and be prepared once Kicks moves into the site. He slows down. He can get the bomb on the floor. Rotating out is likely not an option because of Kicks, who can potentially catch him off guard. It does manage to happen. Right as that happens, Kicks begins to make his way on in. A nade sent out to deny him getting too close to the wall. Kento has a second nade in pocket as well. So if he hears Kicks start to get on that diffuser, he can cook it and send it right at his feet. That's what he's doing right now, but he spots the feet through the floor. Kento had the right idea, but at the complete wrong time, and 2FACED secure that 3-3 half.
What a play really there, but still, it was still looking not great for Arrow Rise from the get-go. Trades coming out. It was even at one time, but it was still 2FACED who were winning most of those engagements. It was Beastly that entered for them to get them more on the site. They really pushed that mid-round to even be favorable for Arrow Rise. At that point, though, they 1v1 trying to get that plant down, and he has no HP for a fight. Gets shot in the feet. He's done for.
Unfortunate again. It was not a terrible idea for Kento. He wanted to play it passive. He was 1 HP. He didn't want to, try to take a fight that he would, in all likelihood, lose unless he landed the headshot. Unfortunately, there as well, as you clearly saw, the place he was sitting right in front of a hole with his feet exposed. So really was extremely problematic for not Splash, for Kento overall. Unlucky. It happens. But going forward, Wimpy also, as you can tell, we're having a bit of a timeout because Wimpy's gone, Benny. He's just not here.
He just left. He had to walk away for a second because I don't know what happened. Maybe he had to walk away for a second. Maybe his computer crashed. Maybe hopefully he's back in a second for them. Timeout's starting to run out for them. But 3-3 at the half for 2FACED. That's looking good. Getting 3 rounds on the defense on Chalet. Looking really good for 2FACED going on to the attacks. And like Link said before, their attacks on Clubhouse looking great. If they can bring those same kind of energy and same attacks on Chalet, they could end this out and push, Aerial Rise to then go into a decider match next week.
Also looking a bit shoddy for our predictions right now. I had a very good week last week. Got every matchup except one right. So far, not gotten a single one right. So I'm not looking forward to potentially not all of us losing, but me in particular, because I am the most important, as we all know.
Yeah, we'll see. So waiting on Wimpy though. The timeout's over, and I'm still waiting on Wimpy to come back. Where is he?
I want to be back. What's going on? What's going on?
Where did you go, Wimpy? Where'd you go?
Did his job call him in for an emergency shift and he had to dip?
Oh God, that would be
sprinting back to wherever he works.
He's getting a call from his manager or something right now, and he's got a dip. That would be actually horrible. Maybe Aug's gonna sub in mid match, which actually can't do that.
You just cannot do that. So
can't do that.
That would be against the rules.
So by the rules, do they just play a 4v5 now?
I mean, I'm not an admin. I'm not gonna make a call on stream.
Yeah, actually no. I think if you have to wait like a certain amount of time and then they forfeit. I think is what it is actually. Because I think that happened to who was it last invite quals? What team was it? Was it One Shot? I think.
Like last year?
No, this invite quals, last open quals.
Okay, I wasn't sure what you meant because
last open quals. I think one team. I think it was One Shot.
Well, I know. IF Arrow's game crashed, and that's part of the reason why they lost.
Subarctic. Yeah, Subarctic couldn't come back, so then they had to wait. They waited like 15 minutes. Yeah, and then he couldn't come back, so they had to forfeit the game.
Well, here's what I will say. I obviously, as broadcast talent and as a lover of Rainbow Six Siege, I would not want that to happen. I want to cast this match out through. But if I were to solely focus on my predictions, odds are right now 2FACED is trending very well in this match, unless ARIAL pull out some beautiful defenses. Odds are 2FACED, especially given the recency, looking in good position to take this to take map number 3 based on how their attacks looked on Club, and Chalet being a map that lends itself a bit more favorably to Clubhouse. 2FACED also having a good showing. The point I'm trying to make is I think 2FACED are going to win. That would go against my predictions. But if ARIAL lose by forfeit, that's an easy cop-out for me. You're like, see, they could have come back. Wimpy DC.
Well, it looks like it's saying they can't get back into the game, so we might have to rehouse ? I don't know. But yeah, I would definitely agree with you. If they can bring that same attacks from Clubhouse onto Chalet, this could be 2FACED. I would say maybe not dominantly, but it looks like they may take it like 7-5, 7-4 going into the attack. Let's see here, but it looks like we might be rehosting ? I don't know. Waiting for admin call.
Yeah, we haven't had a full rehost just yet, but we do have players departing the lobby, probably because Wimpy cannot rejoin. So gotta try and do something to accommodate the man. We can't just be like, screw you crashed. Not our fault. I actually don't know if he crashed. I don't know what happened. Wimpy is certainly not here, and we will rehost the lobby to find out. Is a nice moment though. ARIAL gets some time to talk. Of course, I don't know. Wimpy's still in the comms. You might not be, but the remaining players, if they're not, we talk about the round at the side spot, what their strategy to be going forward on the defense. But the same can be said for 2FACED. Have some strategies going forward on their attack. And with their recent 7-1 last week on Chalet, they appear to not have lost much of their momentum on this map. Of course, tapered a little bit, not as dominant of a half as they started out last week, but they did very well in their attacks. I wouldn't be surprised if they, at least early on, repeat something similar.
Yeah. Also, you ignored Ty when he tries to say hi to you.
I have this relationship with the audience that I'm just so invigorated by. Can't break this connection.
Can't break. But I do agree with you though. It looks really good for 2FACED right now. But hey, anything can happen. Maybe Arrow Rise in the defense. Maybe they'll have these crazy defenses, or they'll just go gung ho on their gunfights and just win every single one. Maybe. Hard to say, but we still got to get the lobby reset up and get these players back in here so we can see the conclusion of this. Because I would not want to see a team forfeit, because that would be literally just a letdown.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever actually I've had games where I was going to cast, but a team
Mhm.
forfeited, like way back, like a year and a half ago, way back,
Yep.
down to the amateur scene. But I've never actually had a game where our team had to forfeit while I was casting. So this would be new for me. Not exactly something I want to happen. So I'm fine with it never happening personally, but would be new to me.
I still remember that best of 5 that I was going to cast with Cookies, and they the forfeit mid match.
When was that?
CCS season 5, I believe it was. Season 5 it was, yeah. CCS season 5 was I think it was loser final or something like that, and it was a best of 5, and it was a best of 3, best of 5. I can't remember what it was. Maybe it was best of 3 actually.
I was gonna say it's probably best of 3 if it was losers finals.
It was a best of 3. Both maps were overtime maps for both teams won their map choice in overtime, and it was looking great. I was able to see a map 3 where both teams were clashing each other,
and it was
both
like, "Let's
having
go,
overtime,
good game,"
and it was like, "Let's
Love to
go,"
see
and
it.
then one player disconnects and they never come back, and I'm just like,
you're sitting there with all the energy, like, and you just not really can't really bring it anywhere.
I just wanted to scream. I was like, really, guys, really?
You
All
did.
season?
You were casting. You wanted to scream because you were casting and you get excited. But no, instead, not only were you waiting, something that never came, we're waiting for something that might still come back, meaning Wimpy. Don't have any word yet as to whether or not he's returned. I can actually check momentarily. We'll see if he's back. I don't believe he is, though.
Yeah, I see Beastly, Gomez, Kento so far. So don't see.
Well, that's good.
Don't see
3 players I was not worried about.
Eddie joined.
3 players I wasn't worried about whatsoever are in the lobby. So we're good.
2FACED are here.
All 2FACED here.
Just waiting on 2 members of ARIAL Rise to get us going and end this map. Want to see who comes out on top, please. Please.
I'm hoping this rehost works. Because, especially at the same time, it is nice because I'm in a position where, most people, you and me in particular, we predicted the favorites to win. If ARIAL won, it's nice. 2-star percentage. But, like, it was expected going into this. 2FACED, I did expect to put up much more of a fight. I did not expect to be a one-sided series, though in an odd way it has been on maps 1 and 2, but not in the way I expected. I expected it to be a close one, especially since 2FACED, obviously, they had a little bit of trials and tribulations when they first brought Poison on the roster. What team doesn't when they bring in an entirely new IGL with an entirely new system? They've looked pretty good in SCS so far, especially after their first game last week. I was excited to see how they do. If they win this out and I get a prediction wrong, I'll be fairly happy, because that means not only are 2FACED in playoffs, which I personally thought would be a much more difficult fight to win, they'll also do it in very good fashion, especially looking at maps 2 and maybe map 3, depending on how this goes.
I think I've bet on or predicted on a lot of the CL teams winning, and they've lost to the amateur teams, which is actually very surprising and something you want to see. I want to see that the amateur scene be competitive against T2 scene and show us up in the next CL quals. They all qual for CL and they show us that, well, if they're old enough, I hope they are, but maybe they won't be. But then show us up and making a more competitive T2 scene, not this whole Limicki stuff that we get.
Well, here's what I will say. If we talk about Limicki, no diss to investigation file, but I felt that Mystic prediction was a fairly solid one. I think y'all did a little trolling by not joining Harrison and I on the Mystic train that game. So,
hey, I haven't
opinion.
casted Mystic like you guys have. I haven't seen the magnificence of their team like you guys have in person. So I was just going off my my recency bias of just knowing IF is a pretty good team. They did well in.
Did you say biased?
SI quals.
Caster?
Oh, recency
biased?
bias. Yeah,
biased.
Every caster's biased. Have we seen freaking Crows scream about PB?
I am the child of 2 lawyers. I simply do not have any bias in me. Silly.
I think that's a lie.
I am impartial to a fault. Nah, I mean, you're right to a certain extent. Of course, if you want to see Mystic play later and try and break that recency bias, if you have watched a lot of Challenger League recently, they will be playing in our second series tonight against Karn & Co. Again, similar game to see who will make it into playoffs or who's got to wait another week to find out. Same stakes as this one, and we might very well see those stakes finally follow through because Wimpy is in the lobby, boys. It was a 3-3 half where we last ended off. If you forgot, ARIAL Rise switching from attack to defense. 2FACED switching from defense to attack. Their attacks are really good on Clubhouse. Can they continue the trend here? Benny at Chalet?
Anything's possible. Anything can happen.
They probably can. I imagine they can.
Anything can happen on the defenses. Maybe we'll have a 3-3 half for them as well. We'll go to overtime.
That'd be cool. I'd be wrong in my analysis, but that would still be cool.
I'd be wrong, but I'd like to see that happen.
That's the nice thing when you're wrong, but a better thing happens.
Well, we'll start off our defense for Aerial Rise on Kitchen and Dining to start us off. And like we saw from 2FACED, the big thing there is, that big window control. Having control of cutoffs of the defense and cut off those roams and stop them from coming back to site or getting kills or just being up there in the first place. We saw when Aerial Rise was attacking, and in one round it went well, other rounds it was kind of a bit of a, bloodbath. They still end up winning those rounds despite the bloodbath.
And with a Valkyrie on the board, it could certainly really there could very well be a bloodbath of some sort because of that intel onto that top floor. Of course, it's Kitchen Dining. I actually expected the bar gaming defense to start out, but instead it will be Kitchen and Dining. Not a terrible sight by any stretch of the imagination. With Amiro as well, we saw this on 2FACED when they did run bar gaming, but this is a different one. You have got to be joking me.
Oh, we got one thing after another. Man, if only Rainbow Six Siege just worked.
Boom! You guys just smoked that guy. I didn't even have my light on.
Man, if only Rainbow Six Siege would just be perfect. But every game has its own bugs, so it's just unfortunate that these come up during these times. And so yeah, we'll be rehosting once again due to a cursor bug. We'll be back in a little bit. We're gonna rehost once again, go through the whole motions once again.
Also, by the way, as always, Harrison, our Siege historian, has corrected us. As my conjecture said, CCS Losers Finals,
I was right.
I assumed was a BO3. It was, in fact, a best of 5.
I was right. I knew I remember that correctly.
I don't know. BO5 Losers Finals, that's not exactly a normal thing. I'm perfectly justified.
No. CCS had something crazy that season.
I'm perfectly justified in assuming that was a best of 3. But as Harrison said, Oblation had to forfeit against Wichita Oblivion for, I don't know, some reason. I can't remember. But the best part is, later on, ARIAL Arise, who we're casting right now, but a different iteration of that roster. Yeah. One CCS, then one RSA soon after. Both against... Wait. Actually, RSA might not have been against Wichita Oblivion. It might have been against PogChamp. Can't remember. No, it was against Wichita Oblivion, I think.
I don't remember. It was so long ago. I just remember, yeah, dude, ARIAL Rise that season was crazy. That was cool. It was on the roster too, actually.
Actually, coincidentally, that might be almost a year ago exactly. Both of those grand finals.
Oh, I thought it was it in December?
CCS was in November. RSA was in December. The reason, the reason, by the way, I'm bringing up, well, obviously, one, it's topical. The reason I'm bringing that up, though, is that ARIAL Rise roster had a Gunner, big T3 player that is actually going to play in like an hour or so. They had a Kool-Aid, who is now a professional Tier 1 NAL Pro League player. Actually, I'm trying to remember all of that roster. Who was it? It's been so long.
That roster was...
Dami, who's now on ARIAL Rise Academy
Dami.
and, retired. Actually, graduated high school today, so congratulations, Dami. Yeah. Good looks. Good work. That's a bit of a non sequitur, but, shout out to Dami. Graduating high school. He made it.
Who else was on the team?
Who was on that team? Actually, I can't remember very well.
I have bad memory, too, because I'm old, but that's just me.
I remember it was funny because Kool-Aid was on Wichita Oblivion and then got transferred, and we were like, why? Kool-Aid's the GOAT. And then he went to ARIAL Rise, and the team was better with Kool-Aid on it. And we're like, why did you do that, Wichita? That seems silly.
Well, here we are back in the game. Finally, please, no more bugs. Please, somebody. Let's get this game going. Looks like Poison's asking the questions, but yeah, we should be going back to the same site, same operators. We should see how it plays out for Arise on their first defense round here on Kitchen and Dining. Hopefully. Just give it a pause, a couple seconds. Nobody's typing. Oh, right, Gomez. Oh no! Please no! Please no!
Bro, no. Ain't no way! Ain't no way! Come on. There's just no chance.
Come on! I just want this game to go.
Not Poison. Unfortunately, he is not capping. Unless this is the most in-depth troll we've ever seen. I'm sitting back for this one. I'm no longer sitting up. We're sitting back. This is a lean back. Actually, I'm not sitting up. I look very tiny. So I'm sitting back up.
Well, I am tiny. I'm only 5'5", so doesn't matter anyway.
I'm 5'6", but like you're farther away from the camera, whereas I'm closer. So if I lean back, like this is what it looks like.
Dude, well, hey, this is turned into a podcast now. Actually, this isn't the stream. This isn't the cast anymore. This is the podcast.
Listen, we have desperately tried to squeeze out the analysis we could. Fortunately, struggling right now. Actually, one funny thing I will say. I'm gonna check. What is funny? If we are talking about obviously 3-3-half decider.
Yeah.
Whereas the entry so far for Villa, very much going the way of Aerial Arise. Entries on map number 2, very much going the way of 2FACED. This map, they've actually been even so far. So one of the defining factors, the team who's winning the entries, by and large, end up winning the map. This one so far, it's been dead even between these two teams. 3 for Aerial.
So far, at least.
3 for 2FACED. However, Benny, you know what's funny too? They in no way, shape, or form correspond to who wins the round.
I'll say yeah. Some of these, I'll say yeah, because they saw what Splash gets a kill, but A wins the round.
Yeah.
It's like Silent get a kill. That's 2-1-1.
For each team, 2 times they got the opening pick, they won the round. 1 time they got it, the other team won the round. So like it's still kind of a trend, but I don't know.
Kind of.
Man, I'm trying. I'm really. We've had 2 cursor bugs for the same person.
Also, can we talk about your mic? I wish it would just fix itself.
Bro, I don't know what's happening. I've got no word.
I don't know either.
I've got no word. It is probably fine for stream. You're the only
one.
No,
no, I'm pretty sure it's fine for stream. I know if it was wrong for stream, February would have said something to me.
I disconnected. I restarted. I've done my job. Stop.
He's done this duties.
I've done my job.
End user.
I'm 2 cursor bugs in right now. I'm losing my mind. I'm seeing hallucination.
Oh, so for context, the entire game so far, the entire Chalet game, inside of. Why am I getting?
Oh, funny enough, I mentioned Wimpy earlier getting emergency called into work. Benny has to right now. He's got to sprint back over to the the accounting office. I don't know.
Who calls me at freaking 9 o'clock at night? Please don't. But anyway, like I was saying, this entire Chalet game, for some reason, Lynx's mic has been garbage.
Listen, maybe it's the XLR cable. Maybe, I don't know. Who knows?
Well, it's only in TeamSpeak, though, because if it was the XLR cable, then you would hear it in vMix, too, though.
Man.
So it's only in TeamSpeak.
Like, my fault. Like, okay.
This TeamSpeak is like no links. You can't talk to Benny.
I'll
just gonna sound like...
I'll just retire. How about that? I'll just stop. I'll go start a farm. I'll sell my possessions and walk the earth. How about that? Will that make you happy, Benny?
Well, to me, you're a robot, so you should just go back to Earth, or go back to the space. I don't know. Go back to the factory.
Robots don't come from space. What does that mean?
I don't know.
I'm stupid.
Go back to the factory.
What am I automating jobs away? What am I, NAFTA? Shut up.
Now this is literally just nonsense because we're just waiting for it to happen again. Hey, no reason lobby. Let's go start up again. Finally, please no cursor bug.
As you can see in Twitch chat, we will now have an over/under on whether or not we get another cursor bug going on. That was a joke. We don't actually have a betting for that, but I will be running one. Shut up, Poison. Not funny. Bad joke. Plus ratio. +1.
I hope he doesn't have to rehost. Actually, please don't say the rehost.
See,
just playing.
Just playing.
Okay, good. Just playing. That's what you want to hear.
Just playing. Just Poison.
Just playing. Whew.
I thought what I said was funny.
Well, here we go. On to kitchen and dining once again, guys. This is the first defense.
Oh wait, do they have to run the same site and the same lineup?
Yeah. That's the rules. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Whenever you guys have to do same lineup, same defense.
I didn't know. That was a joke. I didn't know the rule.
I was like, I'm pretty sure you do. You've casted enough things to know that.
Poison literally asked it in chat.
Obviously, I didn't see that. I was looking at my phone because I have a voicemail from that phone person that called me 5 minutes ago.
No. He asked it on the previous rehost.
Oh, yeah, I remember that now. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Ty even making sure that we see that DS Lucas was standing still, making our heart skip a beat. That is, it is confirmed. DS Lucas is, in fact, has control of his mouse. Let's go.
Yay, we can finally play the game.
We can finally see whether or not 2FACED can attack on Chalet, which I imagine that they can. And whether Ariel can defend on Chalet, which I imagine they probably can to some extent or another. I mentioned earlier, before we were rudely interrupted by 2 cursor bugs, that Ariel are running a Mira on a different side than 2FACED did. Likely can, not only as you see, have a Mira to aid either a defense of a library take or a defense of a solar take. In this case, defending the solar take. You can have one on the side as well, if you want to. Probably where the other one's placed. Actually,
No, so yeah,
Beasley
looks
hasn't
like-
placed it yet, so
yeah.
never mind.
They have, Whippy playing on the trophy stairs with some ADSs to deny a solo take. And it looks like that's what 2FACED is going for. It looks like they are going below, though, to try and deny Whippy that position. He looks like he's getting, they're going to droning inside garage. They're going to see if they can open the floor up and see if they can grenade him or, shoot him off of that trophy position. Splash is going to make the way through. Nobody's downstairs to deny this for the moment. There was a burp there. But we'll see what they do so far. We'll be looking for a kill, and I wonder with that mirror in play, are they still going to go for the solo take?
It'll certainly be a lot more difficult, especially since you can't really get trophy control. More often than not, you just use trophy to sort of deny the rotation down off of the stairs, so probably will be very difficult to do. DS Lucas could get an opening pick with the C4 right here. Last time we saw it from the Pulse, it was not successful. It's not either if your goal was getting a kill, but it does do a hell of a lot of damage to kick, so even if you swing that bedroom window, if you're able to get the drop on the Nomad, you could, by taking a gunfight and winning it, which is a lot easier to win now, remove a very powerful position for the attack in clearing this upstairs floor. Eddie rotating over to provide another dimension to that, another angle to hold, this time from the piano window. Not as good as the bedroom one, but still a good one. One that is nice to hold. But beyond those angles, they have not made, or 2FACED has not made much of an entry into Solar. They're starting to now, but they need to start expanding because half the round is now gone.
Well, it looks like they're looking to try and drone out, make sure they know where these defenders are at. Kicks on the window to close out, and they have control floor now. So they have that first bit of control. They clear out the stairs. They're going to push on forward. They've made sure they can punch the mirror so it plays behind it. And they pushed off those defenders. And there it is. One pushing up. Sal gets the kill onto Wimpy, making the entry into Trophy. So now we're going to see whether or not Aerial Rise tries to aggress. And I don't think he meant to do that. But BC elsewhere kill Splash as a return too, at least.
Even 4v4 at the moment, but health collectively in the aggregate favoring Aerial Arise. But a take could catch them off guard, as never mind, all their guns are trained on the west main position. That's where 2FACED are staking their claim and staking this execute. The Beastly easily removes one as the Silence sprints up the stairs. He falls mid-sprint, right face first onto the floor. Eddie there to try and pick up the pieces from that position, but he'd be pushing by himself, especially since one is currently retaking the very spot Diana was playing. But Kento might not know, might not be aware of the sledge outside that window. As Poison has made his way into the site, Beastly takes an angle. It can't react in time. Kento watches his back, and he watches front as well. He flicks, but he rotates back down the moment the sledge retakes the fight. It's Poison alone at the moment, and he's got to catch up and help his team, but he's now on low HP. The coverage a lot more difficult now that he can't really hold as effectively as he could before. 000, Poison now the only one left. He follows up the diffuser, and Ariel get the first round.
Ooh. A round where we saw same thing, going for that solo take for 2FACED. And they went below. They were trying to push out that player onto. Here's what they did. Whippy pushes off those stairs. He's not going to play stairs anymore. He pushes back, and that gains that control for 2FACED. Though it took them a while. It took them quite a while to really gain the control of Solar, and they get someone on that big window. And by that point, Aerial Rise had already returned back to site. Most point, we get that first pick from Wimpy, though. Silent walking down the stairs. He takes Wimpy, then walks to the hatch. I'm not sure if by accident or not. He jumps down the hatch, goes downstairs, walks up at West Main, gets picked off, walking back up the stairs. And from there, that's where 2FACED started to launch their attack onto sites. But even though they're launching the attack on the site, Aerial Rise is still winning those fights on the members walking in. Is still member after member. BC getting 2 picks from the corner on site. So even though 2FACED had some control, they didn't really gain any kills based on that control, and they didn't really, gain anything from it besides the control of Solar. They didn't really take any. They didn't have any vertical crush pressure. They didn't really take control office. So when launching their attack, it just ended up being straight up gunfights, 1v1s on people on site.
And this is definitely a situation where, well, if there's going to be 1v1s taken anywhere, it's going to be have to clearing up top. Unless you can do what Ariel did and rush the site, but make sure that the stock player is either occupied or incapable of defending that window jump in, you need to clear out this top floor. You can't take 1v1s on the site, and it's not really a viable strategy like we saw 2FACED do. You need to, at the very least, push these top floor members back, and if all else fails, like we saw sometimes happen for Ariel, you need to try and take those ones to remove the fireplace player or remove the library stairs player playing behind that shield. In this case, it's DS Lucas in that shield position, Kento on library stairs, and Wimpy playing inside a box, the connector connecting the stairway to library itself. A 3-man roam on this top floor at the moment, with Gomez also extended far down below inside of kitchen and dining. Of course, doesn't have a C4 as he's playing Frost, does not have it, but still just holding a good position where in case they maybe try to push the upstairs or push the northern side of the map, he can contest, but more importantly, contest fireplace as well. He'll still quickly rotate back and instead rotate down the stairs to widen up his options for where he could rotate without having to fear too much about the attack cutting him off.
Yeah. Looking to be that flex player who can walk around and try and do something later on, or just be that person on site to help his team out. Last time we had Splash playing the, that plant stock as Valkyrie, but didn't have quite the intel to know if they bump in. But the mirrors are going to be big here to not only deny the push, help out the play in fireplace, because you see that mirror facing the double window, but also help the person in stock to know when they jump in, if they jump in through that double window into sight. Well, some boys are going to start us off, will open up some walls towards that fireplace side. Splash is trying to get a small angle on the fireplace and trying to even get a small pick, get a pixel angle onto the head of Kento if he peeks out too far. Wimpy here is going to be looking to help out Kento as much as possible. C4 from DS thrown above. Nobody's in office to get, receive that C4, unfortunately, so that'll just make his presence known below.
We'll make his presence known below and even then waste a bit of utility, but a poor timing from Silent as Kento, or no, actually not Kento, it's Wimpy on the alibi. Doesn't manage to die to that nade. In fact, doesn't manage to die to Silent at all. He even swings across the window again and somehow manages to not take even a single bit of damage, but another nade sails on through, and with that hatch reinforced, there is no avenue to rotate through in which he would be safe. But it's a minute left. 2FACED have spent an ample amount of time clearing out box. Well, never mind. I was going to say Kento's still alive, but he's domed by Eddie, and now the upstairs is fully cleared. And that's the nice thing. Once you clear out that top floor, if you can take down both the players as well, even if you have 45 seconds, it's kind of like reading. You can still very effectively transition to that bottom floor and not be all too worse for wear if you can play your cards right. They need to be aware of DS Lucas. Playing on these blue stairs, Gomez as well can have a powerful angle contesting fireplace, as we saw him potentially do early on in the round. Now in the late round, it is of even more vital importance that they keep in mind DS Lucas and Gomez, especially now that they're the only two left. Splash taken down beastly inside of the site. DS Lucas the only one left. He gets one, but everyone else on 2FACED, they did keep an eye and a mind on those two positions, won their fights, and they even up 4-4 with Ariel.
Yeah, unfortunately, started us off there. That's Wimpy trying to play the box to help his team out with that mirror facing towards the double window. But unfortunately, he doesn't have an ADS. He doesn't have a disc with him. So he's just kind of sitting there, trying to take fights, trying to keep himself alive in that box, fighting against the members on the balcony. He gets hit by a grenade. He goes down easily. And then the person, Kento, playing fireplace, playing pillar upstairs, he's playing by that shield. It peeks a bit too far to Eddie, who's just waiting for an angle onto him, sitting at the double window, fireplace window. Gets that pick on him, totally nullifies that top floor. That kind of pushes the person off library, losing both those members. And then the person inside, I just left a 3v5 at that point. And really, Gomez and Diaz. Diaz kind of returns downstairs, kind of playing the bottom of blue. Gomez is on the other side towards dining, and then kind of leaves, unfortunately, the mirror on site by themselves. I believe it was I forget who it was. Actually, it was Beastly. Beastly playing the mirror by themselves on site. And he's just kind of on by site by himself. And 2FACED will aggress, take control of him, take control of stock, take control of site at that point, and faces DS and Gomez to try to return back to site in the engagements. But they're waiting for it. Wimpy once again. Oh my god, please no.
Bro.
How many times can you rehost?
I'm no admin. But I think this one might just be a 4v5.
God, yo.
Thankfully, he did place down 2 of his bandit batteries. Fortunately, he did not place them.
Wait, he wasn't banned, he was mute.
Oh, he was mute. Sorry. I was thinking of Wimpy on a fort.
Oh, Clubhouse.
Clubhouse. So, we do stall those bandit batteries. BC is 2 in pocket. Lose some of that intel denial, so. Still not great, but I don't know, man. He at least jammed the garage wall. That's pretty nice. Shout out there.
Oh,
can he? Ooh. It's actually because of the long delay time of the X-Kairos, it's a little bit easier to bandit trick those than it is before, or than it is otherwise, but still a nice hole opened up. That is the only hard destruction for 2FACED, and Beastly destroyed 2/3 of it with 1 bandit battery.
He's not left too, actually.
Yeah, if that is not maximum gain from minimal cost for Ariel, I don't know what else would be. Not an even 4v5 in terms of man count, but that did a hell of a lot of damage to 2FACED attack.
So now they can't open the walls in red. They can't open the walls from wine
Or
cellar.
the hatches either.
Or the hatches either. There is nothing else hard-bridging wise they can do, and also it might fix itself, thank God.
Let's
but
go!
They have literally...
It just took Wimpy!
It just would be to disconnect. No, don't say that. Don't say that. But here, the thing is, Ariel side is still roaming though. So if they can get these kills on the roam, they can still win this round. Splash though still gets the pick
Ain't
on the
no
Kento,
way.
who
Ain't
had
no
the
way.
jump on him.
My man was distracted by a whole camera and still won the fight. Like, come on!
What?
Kento...
Well, Gomez needs to pick up the pieces somehow. I see he can get some kills for his team because it's a 5v3. Sure, there's no hard breaching available for 2FACED, but if you just flood the site, it's 2 people on site, 5 in your favor. This could easily go in their way.
You have a minute 15 left. Yes, Lucas is a very nice angle. There are still some nades, so 2FACED, if they don't get too ahead of themselves, they can very effectively deal with the very minimal remaining amount of boons Aerial Rise has, and the plus and the upsides they have to their defense, like that deployable shield DS Lucas is playing behind. Impact Lifeline, couple nades. You can see, I believe somebody cooking one down the hallway. It might be wrong, though, but they can still certainly do it, rotate somebody over, take down that position, and then put pressure on DS Lucas in this spot. Gomez, you mentioned how he was one of the only hopes earlier. Well, now he's taken down. It's just up to Beastly and DS Lucas to clutch this 2v5. Starts out okay. Starts out getting a little bit better, but cannot finish the kill off the kicks. Eddie just not at all away or Beastly inside the site, but it still was a 1v5. Now it's a 1v3. You can play the trades and still come out well ahead. But Splash and Kicks, both on low HP. Silent, the one getting the bomb down at full health. That means both elements of coverage are only on 1 bullet away from being taken down. Silent also now on an HP deficit, but as DS Lucas rotates through Connector, there's a hole up above. Now everyone in the lobby is on reduced HP, and it's 2FACED in the aggregate to come out ahead. DS Lucas trying to bait the plant, but a nade sails on down. He'll have to rotate off. 2FACED knows they can play passive. They can send this up to the 5th round in their favor without taking and getting too aggressive. They'll do just that. It's a 5-4 for 2FACED, but keep in mind, Whippy DC'd at the beginning of the round. And Ariel's bad luck does not seem to be ending anytime soon.
Now the question is Wimpy coming back?
Bro, I hope. I hope. We've been here for a while.
Oh, man. Well, that round was just... Yeah, I had that question too, Splash. I don't know.
Yeah, listen, like... Earlier, I thought the trash talk was a little bit unwarranted. Certainly Kento's 1v1, because, well, maybe he didn't play it the best. I got the idea. It was difficult to play, given he's on 1 HP. There, yeah, like, Kento should have won that, by every mean. Yeah, that's, I don't know where Wimpy lives, obviously, but, you're not aware. There's a lot of windstorms going on in the Midwest right now. Actually, we talked about Exile earlier. Exile, at where he lives, 100-mile-per-hour winds.
Yee.
So, a lot of wild times going on in the US of A right now.
So when does it turn from very high-speed winds to tornado?
I imagine when it starts going in circles and sucking up the furniture and farm animals. Usually, once a cow takes off, I believe that is the scientific sign a tornado has occurred.
Oh, that's great. But anyway, so we're at a 45 now. It's not looking good.
We are?
All right.
I wasn't aware.
No. The gray box is actually just an invisible player.
5 seconds left before insertion.
Yeah, so not great, but
No.
Could be worse.
And especially on attacker
Could be a
side map
3v5.
like Chalet.
I believe.
I guess I believe too. See if someone from Arrow Rise just picks up the pieces and goes crazy, goes Super Saiyan or something. Because otherwise, I don't know how they're gonna win this. Especially now that we're on kitchen dining and they have to somehow like try to defend the top floor for a substantial amount of time or decent amount of time. I don't know.
That's the problem is you can't really. Obviously, with anything, you're obviously not gonna be able to defend it as effectively. You're down a man. But with the top floor, you're going to need to have a lot of people on the site because if it's 2-2, it's a lot easier for 2FACED to flood the site down below, especially since vertical on master bedroom or inside of a master bedroom looking down at the kitchen dining isn't the easiest. Sometimes you can get those holes, but it's not really going to do you a lot, especially if 2FACED don't give themselves up to those holes. You can try your best to get aggressive. Gomez and Kento certainly will, as once 2FACED go for their initial take, they can afford to rotate somebody up, even afford to do a little bit of damage to Eddie, using one of the defense's only C4s, 1 of 2, do some damage onto Eddie. Another player getting aggressive on that angle, but he'll back off momentarily. Ariel are doing their best, and I
jumping in.
admire that.
Gomez.
But if they can manage to take these players down on the solar stairs, this could be massive as the C4 goes out. Silent pushing down for
Does he
some
know he's
control.
there? Oh, but
does know, unfortunately. DS Lucas plays for the trade, but still favoring 2FACED as you started out in a 4v5 the moment the round began.
One's outside trophy window. Splash looking to refrag right here onto the Mozzie. Kento goes down elsewhere to Eddie, who was playing outside by the windows, by the balcony and bathroom. Splash just knows one's there. Pre-fires, can't find the kill. Allows for DS to rotate back to slip, but DS is aware. They're pushing trophy and they go down the trophy stairs. BC and Smoke just kind of playing it through. It's a 2v4 now. As they're looking to try and hold this off, but vertical pressure is now coming their way as they have full control of the top floor. Eddie can just take this time, open up the floor above them, and just see them wreak havoc and push these defenders into places where the rest of 2FACED are expecting them.
And that is, of course, it's a 4v5, but that is what you want to see from 2FACED in this situation, not getting ahead of themselves. Beasley goes for about as good of a play as you can hope for in this situation. Costs a lot of his health, but in a 2v4, starting out with the man disadvantage, you're already going to need to do something to make it work. He's eventually taken down. He's on 1 HP. There's not much he can do. DS Lucas with 30 seconds left. No C4. Has to clutch a 1v3. Spots one. Almost actually manages to flick. That would have been insane. I would have lost my mind. But he didn't land it. And it's now match point for 2FACED. Of course, we said earlier, and if you're just now tuning in, Arial Arise are currently playing a 4v5 because Wimpy's power keeps flickering on and off. So might see if we can get him back in here. He can connect, but again, as I mentioned, with the overall weather situation going on in the country right now, it might be
I don't know his power's back on even.
Yeah, might be wraps for Wimpy and wraps for Arial by extension.
Yep. This could be it right here. Looks like there's a pause right now. Maybe someone's reconnecting maybe. But anyway, yeah, that last round was just, they try to play aggressive. They're in a 4v5. So now they're trying to figure, is it a timeout for 2? Who's that? Whose timeout is it?
I think it's just maybe seeing if we can get Wimpy back in the lobby, just like assessing the situation, maybe.
Well, they're saying just continue this.
Oh, well.
Well. Yeah, let's go with it. Hey, just end it now, I guess. So, well. Unfortunately, we had like 3 or 4 rehosts for this issue, but only that Wimpy's having power issues. But then we had, Gomez had the cursor bug twice in a row, which was just pain. So, well. Here we go. Match point for 2FACED. Looking to just finish them off, put the nail in the coffin, and end the day right here. At least end this match.
Yeah, unfortunate for Arial. Obviously, situation completely out of their control. We'll say 2FACED, they haven't. This is not to fully take away from their victory if they do end up winning, because they have looked very good, Benny. I think we can both agree that they have looked dramatically better than not only how they looked in CL, but even how they've looked before SCS started. They definitely have been making a lot. Obviously, they made some changes, brought in Poison, definitely grinding, and the work seems to be paying off as they have done a very good job against Arial so far. But of course, there's a bit of an asterisk to it because on the final map, we have this. Wimpy will finally return. Ironically enough, the players insisted on unpausing, but Wimpy might have been able to actually make it back in the lobby. We had continued to pause. Way it goes sometimes. We'll see if they can still manage to close this out, even it up 6-5, despite the man disadvantage.
That'd be crazy if they could even this up, let Wimpy come back in the game, and then tie it up 6-6 and go to overtime. That would be crazy to see. I would love to see that. But it's a 45 on the basement site. Last time, even though they ran out of hard breaching because of the tricking done by Beastly, they still won the round because of the man advantage. They got the kills they needed. There's a 2v4 on site. Once again, Beastly looking to destroy and ban trick here. Can he get these off? And they're throwing again all of them on there, but the grenade's in the way, so he can't ban trick this. So all those are going to go off, open up the full wall. But again, I guess 2FACED don't want to go for that wine side or open up the hatches because again, they don't have any X-Kairos left.
I mean, obviously they're dedicating all their hard breaching to the front side. They want to go that side. They would just open it up and ignore it completely. But it is always a little bit risky. You're heavily committing to that side of the map, but they managed to down Beastly. Not actually finish him off. It's Gomez to technically get the first pick of the round. He found the sledge, but he's running upstairs right now and almost did walk directly into the crosshairs of Splash, but he manages to evade the sightline successfully. And it's an even 4v4. 2FACED might have opened up that wall, but in all likelihood, that would have happened in a 5v5 anyway, so it's not looking terrible. Beastly finished off, was on low HP, so he was in all likelihood going to die as well. It's going to be difficult, but this is winnable for Arial if they can make it work, with Poison getting the bomb down, though, and now Silent on the coverage. They fully entered the site. Yep, that's going to be the game. 7-4 for Aerial Arise, or 7-4 for 2FACED, excuse me, and as Poison said, it's just unlucky. You can't really blame it on them.
Yeah, that is very unfortunate for ARIAL Rise, though. Just amount of rehosting, amount of issues in the game, amount of just fact that Whippy at the, got kicked out because of his power going out. Just a lot of unfortunate events. And, because of all this, we have to, because of all the time wasted too, we kind of have to speed things up as well. So unfortunately, we won't have an interview, we won't have stats as well. We're just going towards that next game because of how much time wasted, unfortunately, that.
Yeah. Again, as Benny said, we'll have some thoughts to wrap up the match, but because it did go long, we'll just kind of talk about it a little bit, but then quickly jump to break. Overall, again, very good improvement by 2FACED. For Aerial, still playing a solid game, but especially on map number 3, there's going to be an asterisk on that match, and it's just the way it goes sometimes. Power goes out, Storm knocks out your power. Can't really do anything about it. So, Benny, you have anything else you want to add? Do you?
Not really. Hey, that was just unfortunate from ARIAL Rise. Hey, you can catch the stats on Twitter if you need to. See those stats. There will be an asterisk on them because, again, last map was kind of unfortunate. There's only 45, but still.
And before we go, again, do want to thank our sponsors, Mike and Ike's, for always sponsoring SCS Season 6. Would thank them a bit longer, but again, we're trying to keep things quick, so thank you as always for being a faithful sponsor to SCS and NerdStreet as well. So make sure to get either the Mike and Ike's Original or Mega Mix to power up your games with Mike and Ike's. But that being said, again, we'll try to wrap this up quickly. Thank you all for watching. We have another series tonight, Mystic versus Karn & Co. And we'll get to that in probably about a 5-minute break or so, so don't go anywhere. Gonna have a quick turnaround tonight. We'll see you in just a little bit.